young men that are obviously very talented, but they're good young men that I'm excited to work with and help grow them not only as players but as people. And we have great skill sets in there. I wouldn't say any of them are the same, which is good, right? I mean, that's a good thing where we can draw different things. We can attack defenses in a different way. But it's been a pleasure to get to know these guys, and I look forward to continuing to grow that.
Hey, Jake, this is Glenn West with LSU Country here. You mentioned
Hi, Glenn.
A few minutes ago. Hi. You mentioned a few minutes ago that obviously you spent some time with Joe Brady last year. I mean, I'm just curious, what was one thing that maybe you learned from him above all else that's kind of helped you in your first year here? And then just also, what are your first impressions of some of these players? I know it's very early, but I mean, just what kind of guys do you think you have on this team?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, Joe Brady and DJ spent a lot more time with him, right? Like, they played college football together, and they've grown up together. For me, Joe Brady, I've spent more time with him than any human being, including my wife, this last year. So, like, he's a guy that I love not only as a football coach, but even more as a friend. Like, this is a guy that means a lot to me personally as well as professionally. I wouldn't be here without him. And he invested a lot in me this last year. And I tried to learn from every opportunity I got from him and then add, and hopefully he felt like he grew from his experiences with me as well. What Joe has, he has such grace with how he delivers his thoughts. Joe is, and you guys, I'm assuming most of you guys were around for the 19th season and got an opportunity to speak with him, but he's elite with intelligence. But the way that he communicates, and not just with me, I was his quarterback coach, but with the players. And he helped me to make some things a little more simple. You know, like, we helped shape each other's thoughts, but there were times where I thought he helped me take it from advanced math to maybe Algebra 1, which in learning these systems, it's not about what I know, it's about what these guys know. It's not about what we know, it's what they can learn and retain and play fast with. And then you asked Glenn about our team. What I'm seeing is great excitement from these guys. Like Coach O brought up, we have this offensive line back, and this was big. We talked about the roster a lot when I came up here last week. We have competitive kids. We have guys that are hungry. You don't come to LSU unless you want to compete. But we have skill positions that can stretch the field. We have running backs that can run the ball and catch the ball out of the backfield and stretch it. And we have guys that just want to compete. That's the thing that's been over and over, meeting with these guys. They want an opportunity to compete, and they want to get better.
Hi, Jake. This is Ed Daniels from
Hi, Ed.
ABC in New Orleans. How are you, sir?
Doing great, thank you.
Great. Question. You have really some contrasting styles in the quarterback room. You have a couple of guys who are primarily pocket passers, and then you have Max, who is a little more of a run-pass guy. How will you reconcile that in how you get the offense prepared, because you've got two different quarterback styles in that room?
Sure, and Ed, I appreciate that assessment, and I think that you're right in some of that. I do feel like all these guys can play in any style of offense that we want them to play in. Like, Max is a guy that you're right, he can move, and he has some mobility to him, but if you look at his calmness and his footwork in the pocket, like, this guy can play pro-style football now. Like, this guy can play in the pocket, he can sling it, we can do some different things moving it, and I would say the same thing for Brennan. He can move the pocket. He has very good balance. He's a guy that can sling it well, really like his lower half. And then you have TJ. TJ's a big man now. Like, we were talking earlier today, seeing him the first time reminded me a lot of when I first came to Carolina and seeing Cam Newton. I mean, these are big men. He is extremely talented. He's a guy that can flick the wrist and the ball blows up off of it. He's a guy that, I think that you may not categorize him as a guy that can run and escape the pocket, but there are great examples on film where he's able to move up and over. And the thing about TJ is when he escapes, he can attack you at every level of the field. I mean, he's like Steph Curry hitting threes from the parking lot with where he can reach you with his arm. And then we have Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett is, tore up 6A football in the state of Texas. He's a guy that is extremely competitive, just like all these guys are extremely competitive. But he's a guy that I'm excited to see how he can move out of the pocket, in the pocket. All these kids, there's not a limiting factor to their game saying, well, we can't play this style of football. But either way, whoever the quarterback is and whenever it is that they play, we're going to play to their strengths.
Do we have time for one more question? Amos?
Yeah, Coach Amos Morale from WWL Radio in New Orleans.
Hey, Amos.
You spent most of your career in the pros. I'm just curious as to what about this job kind of made you want to make the move to college football?
That's a great question. This is not something, I had a couple of my close friends, they hit me up and they said, is this true? You know, like I did. Most of my career has been in the NFL. I've spent a couple years at Alabama. I was a year at UCLA. And as Brooks knows, because he got a hold of the head coach I worked for there, I was at Santa Barbara City College. But here's the thing. It's LSU. Like, you look at the players that you get to work with here. Most of these guys, all of these guys that are walking into my office that introduce themselves, they all look like they're in the NFL. They look like the same guys I was with at Carolina or anywhere else. But the thing that really drew me here, you know, Joe talking to me about it and his great experience that he had here, and that the people that are here. It was a difficult decision. I love working for Matt Rule. You know, Mr. David Tepper is an outstanding owner with the Carolina Panthers. And I love working for Joe Brady there. My wife and kids, we love it in Charlotte. We would not have left if it wasn't a unique opportunity here. And Coach Ogeron coached one of my wife's brothers, actually, at Ole Miss. And so when it first got brought up, I don't know, maybe a week ago, when my days are running together, but I brought it up to my wife. You know, we're a team. My wife, I'll tell you what, when you're raising 6 kids, it's the most competitive team sport there is. And if you guys can manufacture a situation that's more hairy than bath time with 6 kids, I think we'll be able to handle 4th and goal. But if she didn't sign off on it, I wouldn't take any job. And for her brother George, who is the special teams coordinator at Maryland for Mike Loxley, who I worked with at Alabama, he loves Coach O. He always spoke about Coach O. My wife has loved her experiences with Coach O. When I came up here, I felt that. And I know that this is a special place. And like I talked about the power of the staff, we have great position coaches. We have great analysts. Any of these guys could be up for any of these jobs. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of my job, is to help develop these people as men and coaches as well, and we'll develop each other. But had it not been such a special place like LSU with Coach Ogeron and all those people I talked about, as well as having great players, you know, this wouldn't have been something that I would have entertained. But we're very excited to be coming down here, and my family will be here as soon as we possibly can get them here.
We appreciate it, Jake. Thanks for your time.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Okay, we're going to have DJ next. If you can put in the...
You're on mute still.
How's it going, DJ? If you
Good.
could, give us a little intro and talk about accepting the job.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me. I'm obviously beyond fired up to be back. You guys are well aware that I was here in 2019, so to know that I've got the opportunity and a greater role to be a part of a program like LSU, and a program that's capable of doing the things that we did in 2019, and an offense that was capable or is capable of doing what we were able to accomplish, then it's it's obviously an opportunity that I couldn't say no to, and I'm just beyond excited to be here.
Hey, DJ, Billy Embody with 24/7 Sports. Welcome back. How much did Jake lean on you in this process as far as feedback on what coming to LSU would look like for him? And then how much did you guys kind of talk with Joe about the opportunity as well?
Yeah, well, obviously I've got some insight there just being here in 2019, and I know Jake leaned on a lot of people. You know, there's a lot of people that have been involved in this process, but there was communication between the two of us, and I had, as you can imagine, nothing but great things to say, about this place and this program and the people that are here. So, there was definitely conversation. I know between him and I, there was obviously conversation with Joe as well. So, I leaned on him as well, just thinking about different things going into it. But there was constant communication throughout the process.
Hey, DJ. Hey, Brody Miller with The Athletic. I mean, you were obviously an OC at 28 years old, and maybe that didn't go to plan, but I guess what did you kind of learn from that 2-year experience and kind of, 3 years later to be here?
Yeah, it's, I think sometimes in a lot of cases you can learn from some of the hard times more than you can learn from the good times, and it's kind of crazy to look back and think on, maybe it didn't necessarily go as planned, but to walk into an opportunity where I was able to be a part of that at William & Mary, and obviously there was a lot of good that came from that experience, and then walk into LSU where you're part of one of the greatest, arguably the greatest offense that college football has ever seen in a 15-0 team, and to be able to see what it takes to be playing at that level as an offense and as a team, and then to go to the NFL and to be able to experience that at the highest level. There was just a lot that was learned in that time to see what it takes to be that good. So those were clearly the biggest takeaways for me that have prepared me for this opportunity and to be back here at LSU.
Hey, DJ, Jacques Doucet, WAFB TV here in Baton Rouge. Just curious, I guess none of us know what spring football's going to look like or what it's going to be, but how anxious and how excited are you and Jake to do some things in spring, and just, I guess in a broad sense, what do you want to accomplish in spring football?
Yeah, no, I'm fired up. I mean, it's one day at a time here. Obviously I'm looking to get on the field with these guys and get the ball rolling in that sense. But as Jake touched on, it's relationships. It's building those relationships with the staff and the players leading up to that. So, my focus is there right now and getting to know the players, because there's, even though I was here just, a little over a year ago or less than a year ago, there's still a lot of guys that were young or that we recruited that are now part of the roster that I'm looking forward to getting to know better, and learning and getting to know them from that aspect, so we can figure out what they're capable of on the field and putting them in position to succeed.
Hey, DJ, Brooks Cabina from The Advocate. I'm curious, from your time here as an analyst in Baton Rouge and then working with Joe Brady again in Carolina, now that you're the passing game coordinator here, what are the things that you're kind of taking from those past experiences now that you're in this role? What do you feel like you get to do now that you're in this position?
Yeah, I think what Joe and Steve were able to do in 2019 was maximize the talent that we had. The talent is always here at LSU. And I think with Joe and just observing it and being around it and being a part of it, that's the biggest thing, putting your players in position to succeed. Using the whole field from sideline to sideline, making all 11 defenders defend the field, and then putting your players in position to succeed, like I said, taking what the defense gives you, and maximizing the talent you have, keeping it simple, but applying pressure on the defense at the same time. So between that at LSU in 2019 and this year with the Panthers, I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, and that's what I look forward to doing with Jake and the rest of the staff and the offense that we have right now.
Hey, DJ, Michael Cobble from Channel 2 here in Baton Rouge. Good to see you back in the Red Stick. Lots of questions. I don't really know where to start, but the one that intrigues me the most is just William & Mary. I've seen that campus. I've been to Williamsburg. Just how were you all able to, get this ball rolling, take college football by storm last year, and now continue this evolution of where the offenses are kind of moving in college football? What was the genesis of all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at William & Mary, Mike Tomlin, Sean McDermott, amongst others, it's got a pretty rich tradition of coaches out there that are doing really well. So I just think the combination of, unfortunately, I wasn't good enough to necessarily, I wasn't talented enough to keep playing, but the passion was always there. And to go to William & Mary, you kind of have to be pretty smart. So I think when you combine the smarts with the willingness to work and the passion for the game, I think you can see that with Joe Brady, and hopefully you can see that with me. And that should take you places. And usually, you walk away from William & Mary, you see a lot of people, the graduates, the intangibles that those people possess. A lot of them apply to doing well in life and doing well as a coach. So I think those things have carried over, and you just take it one day at a time, one job at a time, and and that usually adds up and leads you to good places and great places like LSU, that I'm obviously excited to be a part of.
Hey, DJ, this is Glenn West with LSU Country. Traditionally, the last couple of years, the passing game coordinators kind of handled third down and red zone here. I'm just curious, over the last couple of years, what you've been able to learn about, what it takes to be most efficient in the red zone and also on third down.
Yeah, well, I think on third down, you have to be able to protect first. We can come up with the best concepts in the world, but if you can't protect and give your quarterback time to throw the ball, it's irrelevant. So I think it starts there with having a great protection plan. And then obviously the concepts, putting your players, again, like I said, in position to succeed, based upon what the defense is giving you, based upon what their trends and their tendencies are, those types of things. And then in the red zone, it's the same type of thing, just having a plan, preparing, and putting the work in and figuring out what the defense likes to do down there. And again, just putting your players in position to succeed when it comes down there. You got to get a little creative and, look into it maybe a little bit more than you would in your base downs, your core plan to, I think, to do well down there.
DJ Scott Ravelay, also with The Advocate. As you well know from your college experience, it's not just about schemes, it's about players. You're leaving the NFL where it's all football, and here it's at least half the battle is recruiting. Let's talk about recruiting, the importance of it. If you have a philosophy, kind of players you'd be looking for, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it as a battle. I think of it, Jake and I were talking yesterday about how rewarding it can be. Getting to know the families, the parents, the players, in developing that relationship and seeing them grow as men, 18 to 22-year-olds. Obviously, there's a lot of growing they have to do, not just on the field but off the field. So I think just looking for high-character players, beyond the talent is first and foremost, in the type of families and the background that they come from, that can help build this program and help this program win. And then obviously you want to seek players that are playmakers and are looking to make plays and possess the talent as well. But in my mind, it's those types of things, the intangibles. I think that's where you start, and that's how you build a great offense as well.
Hey, Coach, this is Shea Dixon with 24/7. Welcome back. Congrats.
Appreciate it.
I was curious. You had been in college for so long, obviously, that spending a year in the NFL, what's the kind of biggest thing you learned, whether it's for how you adjust coaching the players or how you adjust going about, being a coach and your weekly schedule? What kind of jumped out at you about
I think my time at William & Mary and obviously LSU prepared me pretty well. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of guys that you're coaching the type of talent that is going to be seen in the NFL. So really it wasn't as much of an adjustment on that end, coaching those types of players in the NFL. As we just talked about, the recruiting, class checks, those types of things, you obviously don't have to worry about at that level. But really I felt very prepared being in Carolina with the Panthers because of my time here at LSU.
Hey, Coach. This is Josh Sibley with Louisiana Gridiron Football. Coach Peetz kind of mentioned speaking face-to-face to players, and you kind of touched on recruiting earlier. Have you spoken to any players that might have opted out earlier in this season or might be on the bubble about leaving for next season?
Yeah, I'm just concerned with the players that are here right now. Those are the guys that I've talked to, and I'm looking forward to getting to know, and that's where my focus is.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, DJ, Brooks again from The Advocate. You mentioned third downs a little bit earlier there. Asked Jake about this earlier. It seems like with any scheme, a lot of it comes down to in-game adjustments in the game, and you were obviously a part of that in 19. How have you and Jake kind of talked about organizing that? You talked a little bit about how that's part of the plan as well, preparation before games. What is kind of the strategy there?
Well, I think you have to know your answers ahead of time. It's the preparation right now that adds up during the season. If you're preparing for something going into a game, and if you guys remember in 2019, I mean, the second half of the season, it was like we saw some defenses I don't know that anybody's seen before. So it's just you have a core set of your offense, and you lean on that. And when you see something maybe you haven't anticipated, your answers already because you've prepared. You've prepared in the off season. You prepared in the summer, and the players know it, and you can go to those things. So to me, it just comes down to preparation and knowing your answers.
Awesome. That's all we got time for. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Good to be back. Go Tigers.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny. It's the divisional round in the NFL playoffs. Our coverage starts Saturday at 3:35 when the Packers host the Rams, followed by Bills-Ravens at 7:15. Then Sunday, the Chiefs host the Browns at 2:05, followed by the Saints-Buccaneers at 5:40. The NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only, subject to credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
From Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Camry for $335 a month with only $2,000 down, or choose from our pre-owned selection. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
$14,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford Expedition XLT. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Coming up on Thursday's Off the Bench. Recap the hardwood. How did LSU fare against Arkansas? And did the Pels manage to stop their slide? Plus, break down the press conference of LSU's new offensive coaches, as well as the continued search for a DC. Off the Bench. 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Yo, and welcome in officially, I guess, since we already started a little bit ago with the press conferences of the offensive coordinator Jake Peetz and passing game coordinator DJ Mangus to Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Without the Hanny, as you know, Hanny going to be out for a couple of weeks, but it's okay. Richard Dickson is here to fill the slot for a little bit, at least today.
I'll hang out with you for a little bit to help you out.
Yeah, we got Richard Dickson, of course, in the first hour. Cody Worsham is going to come hang out in the second hour. We've got Dr. Etheredge from Brock set to join us like he does every single Wednesday. We're going to catch up with former LSU Tiger Marlon Favorite. We've all got a camp coming up in Baton Rouge this weekend, so we'll tell you about that and much more. But obviously, we start with what we just heard. We heard from Coach O for a little bit as he introduced offensive coordinator Jake Peetz and passing game coordinator DJ Mangus. Let's start with Jake Peetz. I think there was a lot to like there.
No doubt.
I thought he was very commanding of his press conference. Love some of the things that he talked about, being with Sean McVay, being with Norv Turner, being with some of the big-time offensive coordinators that have led them to be head coaches in the NFL. Talked about grassroots of the spread system. Talked about having multiple formations and multiple personnels just because you have two running backs that are great. You don't have to worry about just playing one at a time. You can have a pony personnel, if you will. You're going to put the best people out there on the field. So, look, I understand that press conferences are what they are. You win the press conference. I understand that. You're supposed to win the press conference. But it was good to hear from someone that we don't know. And I thought DJ, again, we do know DJ. I thought DJ did great as well. But it was really refreshing to hear some of the plans that Jake Peetz has for LSU.
Yeah, there's no question. I think, if anything, for the people who weren't, doing their deep dive into who Jake Peetz is, I think it was very informative to realize how many coaches he had worked with. Being a Norm Childs and mentor, quarterbacks coach, and that's really where he got his offensive mind started, going on to the Jacksonville Jaguars and scouting for 3 years, then working with Sean McVay, which 2 or 3 years ago was considered the brightest offensive mind in the NFL, and then getting a year with Joe Brady. I mean, there's a lot of great people he's been around. I think he's a name to be very excited about.
Was in the NFL for a very long time. Of course, we all know the resume. We've broke down the resume. We've talked about the resume and what it's going to be. The most exciting thing for me, if I'm Jake Peetz, I'm coming in to an offense that actually, in a bad LSU football season, did some great things. Yeah. I really think they did, especially the way they closed it. When you look at where they finished in the SEC, they were 5th overall. They were 4th, I believe, in yards per game. And this is an offense that played 3 different quarterbacks. So it's hard to be consistent with 3 different quarterbacks playing. You've got some running backs that, I'll be honest with you, I'd like to see them utilize those 2 stud running backs. Of course, Chris Curry, and that just came out. He's transferred to Utah, so you'll be without Chris Curry. But Ty Davis-Price, John Emery, those are your bell cow backs. I'd like to see them get more involved in the game plan. And, you got some questions, I guess, at tight end now that Gilbert's gone. Cole Taylor stepped in, but I don't know how much they'll be using and utilizing the tight end position. I apologize. I don't know. He mentioned that. He mentioned, hey, there's a lot of times that you might not see a tight end on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. And he said we're going to use the players that the way that fits them best. We two running backs. We're going to run 2 running backs. I think one of the key things, going off of last year, we had a lot of question about, loyalty, trust, the locker room, and in fact that the way he brings in family, how important family is. He goes, look, I want these guys to meet my wife and kids before we start talking football. Right. Because we got to start building this relationship. And once you have trust, then everything goes from there. And I think that's huge because that's something that I thought we kind of missed from this team. There wasn't that family bonding. And for him to come in and say, first of all, that's where he wants to start. So I think it's looking up.
I did enjoy when he said, look, if I can give 6 kids a bath tonight, put them to bed, I can almost do anything, and I can handle 4th and goal.
Yeah.
I've only got 4. And he's kind of right there.
No, I mean, and if you go back and watch some of the videos, he is a family-oriented guy. And for a guy, like you said, if he can handle 6 kids at bath time, he feels pretty confident about what he can do at 4.
All right, so when you take a look at this offense, Richard, and you know that you've got guys coming back that we didn't expect to come back, and I'm, of course, talking about the offensive front and the offensive line because it was a group that struggled. They did a little bit better at the end of the season. Still, they had times where they really struggled. Okay, well, now you get those guys back, and we know who they are. I didn't think there was any way that Austin Deculus and Ed Ingram were coming back to this team. I'll be honest, I didn't think Liam Shanahan was coming back to this team. I thought there was an opportunity, but I'd say 50-50 at best. Okay, you get all of those guys back. You get Chasen Hines back. We expect Dare Rosenthal to be back, but even if he's not, you still get a bulk of your offensive line back. That's a position that you missed on some recruits. Yeah. You needed some guys to come back to create that depth, to create that competition. You've got some young guys that I hope they allow them to push those older guys. I hope that it's not, you were here last year, you're automatically a starter. I hope there is competition in that group. But that's what they had to have. They had to have guys come back with the experience. And I understand not all experience is good experience because you can have bad players come back, right? But Austin Deculus, 2019 National Championship team. Ed Ingram, same thing. Dare started a lot of games on that team. Chasen started even way back in 2018 against Georgia. So we do have good moments of those guys. Now they got to find that again as a unit because, as you know, offensive line, it's only as good as the unit is. You can have an individual performance, but you can look bad doing so.
There's no question. You got to have great chemistry on the offensive line. I think that it's a good start with all these guys coming back. They know that they did not have their best year, and all those players have played better football in their career at LSU. It's a huge get for us because I think that's the main starting point. We got skilled players everywhere. We got 2 great running backs coming back. The quarterbacks, we have very capable quarterbacks. I think the next thing going forward is which quarterback wants to become a pro. You're going to want to see which guy is going to take the Joe Burrow route, the guy that is in the film room. And we know that this is going to come highly recommended from Joe Brady because he knows what Joe Burrow did to get to where he needed to be. And I think that he's going to have that communication with Jake Peetz, and he's going to really push those young quarterbacks.
It was a great point you made during one of the breaks leading into the show. Joe Brady knows Miles Brennan.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a year together. They worked on game plans together. And you said, I bet you one of the first things that Jake Peetz asked Joe Brady about was Miles Brennan. And tell me about him. Give me the book on him. What was he like preparing for a game? Because there's obviously going to be multiple quarterbacks pushing for that starting role this year. When you have the success that Max was able to have, TJ had his moment against South Carolina, it's going to be a real competition. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
No, I mean, Max was the first quarterback that Jake Peetz talked about how he could run a pro-style offense. So, that he's seen what Max did, especially in the last few games where they had a lot of success. But, I mean, Miles Brennan is a name that's going to be, the biggest question because everybody knows the tools he has. He's been here. He has the ability to be that 5th, 6th year leader, and I think that it's all going to start with getting in his head and figuring out where he wants to be.
Where do you think the tight end position, kind of circling back to where we started talking positions, where do you think that position evolves? Because you do have
Cole Taylor was serviceable.
You have Cole Taylor. No, and this isn't against him, but you have him in place. Nick Storrs, if he decides to come back, of course he's going to play baseball as well. You have him in place. Torrey Carter decides to not take the extra year. He's going to try to become a pro. Gilbert's now in the transfer portal. You did sign a freshman. You've got another guy in Jack Besh that you did sign. If you wanted to, look, he's talented enough to be a receiver, but if you want to use him in that Gilbert role where he was flexed out, you put him on the move, did some different things with him. I think you could do that with Besh. So do you see that position going away a little bit? Do you see them trying to emphasize something different with that position?
No, and, I hate to say, it's going to look a lot like last year because we don't want a lot of things to look like last year, but I think that, Jack Besh is a guy that can come in and play exactly what Eric Gilbert did. He's a big body guy. I think he weighs 225. He's a 6'3", strong guy. Eric Gilbert wasn't the best blocker. I think he hurt him a lot of the times when they were trying to put him in blocking situations. So I think that he can easily step into that spot. We know he's an athletic guy and be a receiver. And I think Cole Taylor's going to come along a lot in the next year.
All right, so I know that we're on radio as well, but, of course, we're on Cox Sports Television. We're on YouTube every single day. We're on there now. And our wardrobe is actually getting a lot of talk in the chat. I'll just let you know, yes, this is red. No, it is not Alabama. It is not Ohio State. Look, that is a New Orleans Pelicans logo. I'm trying to go for the local team. Y'all know I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm trying to support. It's a small, but it's still a Pelicans logo. And then they asked who the floating head was next to me.
Well, I forgot my Hunter's orange, so you came with the best thing you could in a red jacket. So at least we're staying close together.
Yeah, y'all know better than that. Do you remember the time I came into the meeting room wearing an Atlanta Braves hat and Les didn't know? He thought it was an Alabama hat.
Yeah.
And he stopped it. Hester, what are you doing?
There was a guy, I can't remember, who was wearing Southeastern basketball shorts, and he made him go change. You just didn't do that.
It's like, Coach, it's the Braves hat. Chipper Jones, Greg Maddox, Tom
Glavine. A friend of mine
Glavine.
plays on the basketball team.
Yeah. All good.
Shorts.
All good. All right, we'll take our first break. We've still got so much more to come. We'll continue to break down Jake Peetz and DJ Mangus. First time we're able to hear from them since they've been hired defense coordinator. That's obviously a conversation. Arnett comes in yesterday for the interview. Word is he left without an offer. That is not going to be the next defense coordinator at LSU. So we'll try to figure out what names are left, what LSU's thinking when it comes to a defensive coordinator search as well. We'll be back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Here's a great way to start the new year. saving lots of money because Richard's Honda has 0% financing. 0% on some of your favorite Honda models. And with Richard's Honda transparent pricing, there are no add-ons or hidden fees. When we give you a price, that's the price you pay. Transparent pricing and 0% financing? Must be why smart customers love Richard's Honda. Interstate 12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customer.
Tune into a Wednesday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from City Slice, Pints and Pizza near the campus of LSU. We're watching some SEC basketball as the Tigers take on Arkansas at 6 p.m. Come out and see us or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda, here with Richard Dickson on a Wednesday afternoon. All right, so we heard from Jake Peetz. We heard from DJ Mangus. We know who the offensive staff is. We know Mickey Joseph's back. We know that James Craig's back. We know what that looks like. Okay, now on the other side of the football, Richard, there's some question marks. Zach Arnett came in apparently and interviewed yesterday, of course, the defense coordinator at Mississippi State, and left without a job. And Bruce Feldman reported that they will not be offering a job, or they won't be,
The way it sounded like was that we didn't pursue him at that point. Or something happened in the interview, and I don't know, just reading through the text. But it came out like you said, we did not offer him the job.
All right, so you don't have to rush, like Coach O mentioned, like defensive coach, and you've got Corey Raymond still there, and
as long as you have Corey Raymond still there.
Yes,
that's a big question.
Well, Texas has gone away. They went to Notre Dame and hired Joseph away, so Texas looks like they're off the table. But you don't have to rush it. I understand that because of the way signing period is. Yeah. Now with the early signing period, you've got so many guys. Not only are they signed, but you've got, I think you need 9.
To focus on offensive line regardless.
9 guys that are here, and you do. You're going to focus on the offensive front. But, Coach O did say that he wanted him here on Monday, and if Marcus Freeman would have worked out, it would have been in place. You would have had all your guys Monday. The team's there. The team's working out. Moffitt's getting them into shape right now before they hit the fourth quarter program. You don't have to hurry. I agree. But at some point in the near future, I think you want to have your staff in place because you want to be able to finish out this recruiting class. You want to be able to, now with football school starting, remember, that's not something that we had available when you and I were playing. Now, football school, it's basically you're out there practicing without a ball. That's what it is, okay? It's not full speed.
You need a guy to run that big fancy film room for the defense.
You do. That's something that I would like the defense coordinator to utilize this time around. And so now you start to find some names, and you try to go, okay, what's LSU thinking? Boy, it's been a little quiet. Arnett was probably the second or third choice whenever we thought Freeman was the number 1. Okay, so where do you go now? Look, Kevin Steele was never coming back here. He's now with Tennessee. That's not someone that LSU was targeting. So that him going to Tennessee, in my opinion, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you start to look at the names that come up every time a defensive coordinator job comes open, Jim Leonard at Wisconsin comes up. That's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
You don't understand. Like, if I was choosing a defensive coordinator, if they gave me a head coach position at any school, Jim Leonard would be my first call. He would. He was a teammate of mine in Denver. I think the world of him. But guys, he's from Wisconsin. He played at Wisconsin. He played 10 years in the NFL. So what's that say? Money matters, but it's not the number one thing.
No,
he made a lot of money for a lot of time. So I would imagine that it's going to take more than anything anybody can offer to get a guy like that away from Wisconsin. So you have to really start to look at what are the real possibilities. And remember, it doesn't have to be from college football. Coach O has shown, just like in Jake Peetz, although he's been in college, I understand that. He spent more time in the NFL than he did in college. So it could be someone who is still coaching in the NFL. Nielsen from the Saints, a defensive line coach, that's a name that we've heard.
Yeah.
Potentially could come in for an interview. So for you, what's the timeline? What's the timetable look like as far as when you want to see someone get this job and start working with the defense?
I'm no different, Coach O. I wish it would have been done, for this Monday for when the team got back together. Now that you've, kind of swung and missed, you don't have the guy that you wanted, and we don't know what happened with the second interview with Nance coming in. I think that you just have to make sure you don't rush it. You want it done quickly. I'd like to have it done in the next week, but you don't want to go out and hire the first guy that says yes. Because that's when you're going to be in a real hole. I think you got to talk to the people that you trust, talk to people in college that you trust. And, ideally, I would like to go see another young up-and-comer instead of getting another old guy that's had a shot at the head coach and is now searching for the defensive coordinator job. I think these young guys just have a lot of motivation and a lot of, want to become the next best thing.
I'd love to get a recruiter. X's and O's are more important, and you can surround him with recruiters, but I want to get a recruiter. I want to get someone that is energetic. You're exactly right. Because we know, Bo at that point in his career, how much was Bo recruiting? Probably not a lot, let's be honest. Dave Aranda, soft-spoken, not to say he did a bad job on the recruiting trail by any means, but a little bit different.
He wasn't known for his recruiting.
He wasn't. He was known for his X's and O's and what game plans he could put together.
What was the last defensive coordinator at LSU that was known for recruiting? Because it wasn't Chavis. We all know Chavis had his issues. Was it Muschamp? Muschamp probably the last DC that was, also known as a recruiter. But, he was another young guy at the time. That's why I think that if you can go find a 30 to 38-year-old young up-and-comer, that's one that I would be excited about.
Obviously, right now, when you look at the staff, you have one defensive coach. And, of course, we talked about the offensive staff, and I forgot to mention Kevin Falk. Yeah, he's pretty good at what he does and what he did. Obviously, K. Falk there at the running back position. So you do have Mickey, you have K. Falk, you have James Craig, you have DJ Mangus, you have Jake Peetz. you've got all these offensive coaches, and it's just Corey right now.
Yeah.
Right, because Bill Bush is no longer here. Whoever the defensive coordinator is, 9 times out of 10, that's a linebacker coach. You don't have a defensive line coach right now, and I know they have other people in the building. Christian Lockjor's, former number 18, obviously he's in that building, so he can help and work with the defensive line until something is made official here. But that's why, to me, you don't rush it, but timing is starting to get a little bit more important because you want to be able, like right now, they met on Monday, and Coach O can handle the defensive line.
Yeah.
I think that's safe to say.
Every time I've been to practice, he was handling the defensive line.
Yeah, same here. But you want to have, another leader, a coordinator, a linebacking situation that has a coach. So
to me, the bigger question is, and like you said, Corey Raymond is the only name sitting out there. Does Corey want to be a defensive coordinator? Because I think that's a huge question because, now you're talking about you're at your 3rd or 4th swing. And if you got a guy that is detrimental to your staff, like Corey, I mean, Corey's a guy that we cannot let go. I would think that if he wanted to be a DC, there would have to be conversations or I would possibly see him leaving because, he's a guy that you cannot, if he wants that opportunity, at some point you got to trust him and let him take that shot.
We've got some questions inside the Bayou Ford chat, and it's an interesting one. Pete Golding, the defense coordinator at Alabama, he's from Hammond, Louisiana.
His dad coached in my high school.
Okay, so
Skip.
Okay, well,
married my best friend's mom. I know Pete.
Do you have any insight? Can you get us a
No,
scoop?
actually, I know his Delta State days. That's where I knew him.
I think he spent some time at Southeastern as well.
His dad was a defense coordinator at my high school. Was a defense coordinator at Pascagoula High School. I know that he's from the Hammond area. I just don't know. I mean, he's another one. I think that he's gonna by defect do a good job every time because Nick Saban really runs that defense, and you can say that about offensive coaches as well. But I like the name. I just don't see how you pull a guy that's having that much success for a lateral move over here.
Hey, again, this isn't anything we've heard. We're just tossing out names there of guys that potentially could, and we're trying to find ties. A lot of coaches that have coached with Saban, especially on the defensive side, have said, it's demanding because we know it's demanding to work for him, and Pete does call the defense, and Nick helps in the game plan. Nick does seem he's changed his demeanor a little bit. I think over the last couple of years he has changed. We heard him talk way more about how much he loved this team and the job they've done than ever before. Like he's giving out credit to everyone, and normally he doesn't because he wants you to stay hungry
next year.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but obviously, I think just because of his ties with Louisiana, that's why people are throwing that name out there.
No, it's definitely an interesting name, and I think anybody that's worked under Nick Saban and has been trusted. I mean, Nick Saban has brought him back for another year. I think he's been there a couple of years now. That he obviously has faith in what he can do. If you could pull a guy like that, I think that'd be great. And he's another one that's still a relatively young guy. I think he's in his mid to upper 30s. I like that position for a coach, and if you could get him back into Louisiana, it'd be great.
Do you care about 4-3?
No.
3-4, 3-3-5, 4-2-5?
Because, like you said, half the time these guys are going to be going into nickel and dime situations. The way the offenses are running the league. Do I like a 4-3? Yeah, I think you get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but I think it leaves your secondary vulnerable at times. But I think as well as it's coached and schemed, you can make either one work.
So I think the only difference is if you came in here running a true 3-4. That'd be the only difference because then you're talking about different edge rushers. You got to have a different body type.
Guys that can cover a little bit.
LSU's a 4-3, and I use that in air quotes because how many times they really line up with a Sam linebacker?
When was the last time? I mean, we ran a true 4-3. We had Tyson Jackson at 285 on the defensive end. We had
Luke Sanders playing under defense on the ball.
Big boys all over there. Right now I don't think what we ran as a 4-3 is not what's run as a 4-3 today anyway.
Yeah, and it matters more in recruiting and body types. I mentioned yesterday in a 3-3-5, like B.J. Ojulari could be that will linebacker that ends up on the line of scrimmage a ton in that 3-3-5. And obviously he's talented enough to be able to drop in coverage, try to confuse the quarterback, get in a passing lane. There's a lot of things you can do off the 3-3-5 principles that can turn into a 4-2-5, and you can just continue to rotate through those defenses.
Is the 3-3-5 like the new thing in defense, how the spread was coming into offense? Because you didn't hear much about a 3-3-5 until the last few years, and it's kind of taking a precedent with the spread.
A little bit. I will say it started kind of like spread. So to your point, it started with the smaller schools. The smaller schools found it as a way they could compete with the big boys. It's both a run stopper and, is really good against the pass as far as coverage. You lose maybe a little bit in your rush there unless you're blitz happy, and there's some blitzes you can do off a 3-3-5 defense. But to your point, it kind of started at smaller schools. Now it's worked its way up where they're doing it in some of these bigger places, kind of like the spread, right? The bigger schools were the last to adapt to it, where the smaller schools, they felt like that's what they had to do. And I always give the example, the high school I went to, Evangel Christian in Shreveport, we were really, really good, and we didn't have the best players like a lot of people think. And you look at the record of the guys that after they left Evangel went to college, a lot of it didn't work out because we were really good. Because, one, we had really good coaches. I mean, we had like former defensive coordinators from like Northeast and Louisiana Tech that were high school coaches for us. It was a system. We were the only team that was 5 wide. We were the only team that had a 9-yard shotgun. We were throwing the football all over the place. And so we were that unique system that people had to prepare for. And that's why, in my opinion, we were really, really good. It's because of coaching and scheme. And once people caught up with that and everybody started to do that, well, Evangel didn't win a game this year.
Chip Kelly, he was killing it for a while. Once everybody figured it out and they caught up, Chip Kelly hadn't been able to do it. I just find it interesting that the two big names that we came out with, Freeman and Nance, both run 3-3-5s. And those are the two guys that, have been the most public names for LSU at DC.
All right, we've got much more when it comes to LSU football coming up. We know LSU basketball's got a big win against Arkansas, so Cody Worsham will join us in the 1 o'clock hour. We've still got everything under the sun to talk about, so don't go anywhere. Hangin with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Happy New Year from Cordell Toyota in Opelousas. You can get into a Corolla for $239 a month with only $2,000 down, or choose from our pre-owned selection. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Coming up on Thursdays Off the Bench. Recap the hardwood. How did LSU fare against Arkansas? And did the Pels manage to stop their slide? Plus, break down the press conference of LSU's new offensive coaches, as well as the continued search for a DC. Off the Bench. 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda here on a Wednesday afternoon. Richard Dickson filling in for Hanny. Again, Hanny will be out in a couple of weeks. My man's getting new hips.
He's going to come back hopping.
He's going to come back like with a little spring in his step.
He might even start playing golf again. You never know.
I felt bad for my guy because he would walk in here, and it took, Josh Paul, 30 seconds to get in this chair for our guy.
Coach, when you got a hip problem, that ain't
and getting out of it was just as bad. That was actually more painful than getting into the chair.
I think it's like walking downstairs is worse than walking up.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right.
He was telling me the other day that, just trying to get on and off the couch right now was the most miserable thing. So, good for him. He needs to go ahead and get that done.
Yeah, I felt bad for him because he had to get it delayed by a couple of days because he had an issue pop up, and I just felt bad for him.
We've had knee problems.
Couldn't put on his socks.
I remember when you with knee problems getting on and off the couch, but man, when you're doing it with your hips every day.
All right, so something that I didn't honestly even realize or put together, Jake Peetz was with Norv Turner in Carolina, and so I actually reached out to Norv via text, and I said,
Called you perfect time.
I said, hey, Coach, I was like, can you give me a book on Jake Peetz? Like, tell me about him. And, of course, Norv's old school, he called me. I was like, Coach, I can't talk. We're actually about to come back on air, but I'm going to reach back out to Coach, and hopefully this week we can have him on and we can get kind of a profile on Jake Peetz when they were together when Norv was the coordinator in Carolina.
Yeah, it's just cool. I think that's one of the big things we're learning today, a lot about his history and a lot of names that I didn't know he had dealt with. I'm sure Norv's going to have great things to say about him as well.
All right, so obviously offensive coordinator, passing game coordinator has been a lot of the show because we heard from them. We know who it is. We just spent last segment talking about defensive coordinator. There seems to be, numerous amount of NFL names that are circling around the LSU program. Twitter's, I've seen a bunch of different names. Defensive line coach Nielsen from the Saints. Obviously, Coach O has a relationship with him. I've even saw, Joe Barry, who is a longtime NFL coach. Actually, I was with him in San Diego. That's another name I've seen thrown out there. Let's just call it like it is. At this point,
we don't know.
We don't know.
We have no clue.
We knew with Marcus Freeman. We knew that there was a good chance with Arnett. At this point now, and just kind of reading what Coach O said today about, I'll give you the quote, I have a really good feeling on who the new defensive coordinator will be. Just have to be patient. To me, that means NFL.
Yeah, to me, I'm honestly thinking it's starting to sound more and more like Nielsen from the Saints. But where, in your mind, if you had to go out and pick and you miss on Freeman and Nance, where are you going? Would you want an NFL guy, or you want to go after a young up-and-coming guy, kind of like we're doing on offense?
See, the NFL college thing, to me, is a bigger deal, I guess, on offense when you start looking at it, because I think it's completely different when you're talking about NFL offenses and college offenses. Even though the NFL is doing some of the things that college is doing, you're going to have 12 personnel. The Raiders run a ton of 13 personnel still, which is 3 tight ends and 1 back. You don't see that anywhere in college football. Defensively, these defensive coordinators and defensive coaches have had to evolve with the rule changes. You can barely touch a receiver. The way targeting is now, and I know in the NFL it's different. You don't get kicked out of the game, but still they have to be careful on what they do with the receiver coming over the middle. So they've kind of made the change, and they look more like college defenses than I would say NFL offenses look like the offenses.
Yeah, and to your point where I agree with why I'm kind of leaning toward a younger guy has grown up in that system. He's not had the old ways where you got to fly around, do whatever you want to do, try to kill somebody coming across the middle just to make sure they didn't complete the pass. These younger guys that have been in it, since their early 20s, 24, they've grown up in a concussion protocol league where they're doing everything the safe way, they're doing it the new way. They're playing defense completely different now than they've ever played it. So I think that, these guys, that's all they know, and that's kind of where I'm leaning.
If you wait till, speaking of timeline, because that's something we talked about a couple of segments ago, if you wait until one of these teams gets done, and let's say they make a run, right, and it goes into February, and you do miss that next signing period, and you still don't have.
Do you have to, though? I mean, if you're not going after and getting an NFL defensive coordinator, I don't think it hurts the Saints any if their D-line coach takes an offensive or a defensive coordinator in college but remains with the team. I think there's a lot of things he can do on the side. You see it. I mean, Steve Sarkisian was putting together a staff while he was getting ready for a national championship, and I know that's at a different level, and it's a guy that's been a head coach before. But, I mean, I think it's more of a problem when you were waiting on college coaches through the playoffs versus a defensive line coach in the NFL making a run at it.
I agree. And Kentucky just went and got a quality control coach a couple of weeks ago to be their offensive coordinator who was with the Rams. And so and obviously the Rams are still in this deal. And if you're wondering, Nielsen and his resume, we laid it out a little bit yesterday. Obviously played at USC for Coach O, then was at USC in a coaching role, Idaho, Ole Miss, Central Connecticut State, Tennessee Martin, Northern Illinois, North Carolina State. So he spent a bulk of his coaching career in college football. He's only been in the NFL since 2017, so he definitely would have the experience recruiting, speaking with young guys, knowing how to interact with them. I think that would be a big plus for him, and it seems like that would be a name right now to pay attention to. All right, when we come back in hour number 2, Cody Worsham joins us to talk LSU hoops and more right here on Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
They are exactly the same.
They're identical. Actually, they're not. Hester also has antioxidant vitamin C.
Antioxidant?
Then we'll take Hester.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Hey T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out, 1045ESPN.com.
It's the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject to credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard's Honda. We did a little NASCAR change there. Richard Dickson in hour number 1. Now Cody Worsham in hour number 2. Cody here to talk about Everton being in the top 4 of the EPL.
Arsenal's playing better lately, so
They're
I'm
not getting
happy to
relegated.
talk.
Good.
I'm happy. We're out of the relegation zone.
Good.
We're soaring. We're probably only like 9 points back at Everton. I feel good about where we are.
Yeah,
We're
it's
trending in the right
it's
direction.
3 full wins. Okay.
Oh, I thought we were going to do a full hour there.
We were, but like it literally, like, when the word soccer comes out of my mouth, the chat starts to blow up, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
So we'll do maybe a podcast.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
you're really good at podcasting.
Yeah, I just finished recording one. I don't know if I uploaded it, though. That's not good. I recorded a boot up, a full episode of boot up before Arkansas game tonight, and I'm realizing now, I don't know if I uploaded
Did you
it.
bring your computer with you?
I got my phone, and I think I might be able to do it via my phone. I don't want to get into the tech stuff, but I think I may have saved the file to the cloud, and then I might be able to upload it. So I'll do that in the break.
We'll talk plenty of LSU basketball here coming up with you, but
I could like drop it live on air. I could be like,
You
just
could?
dropped it. Stop listening to this show, and just keep listening to this show.
Yeah.
When you're done with this show.
Hey, when you're done, I mean, self-promote yourself, and
Yes.
they can tune into you.
There we go.
And then they'll just
It'll
leave
be a
me.
battle royale.
Yeah, that's
You're gonna
fair
listen
enough.
to Boot Up after this in the 2 o'clock hour. You're gonna listen to Hester.
I will say
We'll
Boot
see.
Up you can go back and listen to, although you can do the same with this show. But
Yeah.
just listen to both. I don't really care.
We'll
when
go with
do
you.
it.
This is your house.
Okay.
This is the Boot Up pregame. You know what I'm saying? Like 4:30, 5 o'clock before the game. Then you can boot up.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so we'll get to booting up a little bit here coming up, but I want to ask your thoughts. Jake Peetz, DJ Mangus, and we know DJ. We've had plenty of conversations with DJ, but Jake Peetz, now the offense coordinator. First time we've got the opportunity to hear from him. I know what the deal is now. These guys win the press conference, but I was still impressed. I mean,
Yeah.
It's okay to be impressed with a guy from the first time you're hearing from him.
First of all, DJ, big Pro Football Focus fan, as am I. We used to sit close to each other on the plane, and I'd kind of peek at his Pro Football Focus spreadsheets, and he'd kind of peek at mine. So I like that. But Pete's crushed it. I mean, I think I said this a couple weeks ago when I was in here. Maybe I was with Hunt. I try not to read too much into the initial reaction of a hire. I just don't think it's worth very much. You just have to see the proof's in the pudding, and you have to see what somebody does when they start coaching. But you couldn't do a better job of a press conference than he just did. He's very sharp. He's very engaged. The thing that I like best is he started with, look, we'll get to the football stuff. Right now it's about relationship building.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a cliche or a talking point? Maybe. I think it's genuine. I think that's the approach, and I think it has to be the approach. And here's why. It's not for this summer. It's not for this spring. It's for next fall when something goes wrong. You need a relationship between your offensive coordinator and your players where when things go wrong, there is a trust level there that, hey, this is why it went wrong, and this is how we're going to get it right. The players have to buy into that. They have to believe that their coach knows what he's doing and can get the job done. And he has to show that by example, but he also has to show that relationship building and earning their trust. And so that was the part of his press conference that impressed me most. Hey, we can talk about system, we can talk about scheme, we can talk about personnel, formation. The most important thing for us right now is sitting down with these guys, getting to know them, building that trust with them. And he didn't say this part, but this is the part that I just put out there now. That's what's valuable in the fall. That's what matters when you're on the road in Tuscaloosa or Oxford or wherever, and the chips are down and the pressure's on, and there's got to be a trust level there that the coach trusts the player and the player trusts the coach. If you don't have that, nothing's going to work. Yeah. If you do have that, a lot of it's going to work.
So I never had this situation in my career when you got a new coordinator, but you still basically run a bulk of what you've already run in the past. Like I've never been, it's when a new coordinator comes in or when somebody new comes in, you hit reset, you start over, it's new lingo, it's new terminology, it's new checks, all that type of stuff. And this situation, you're not going to have that for the most part. Like DJ knows this offense. Yep. He was a part of it in 2019. Peetz was just a part of Joe Brady's offense, which Coach Ensminger still ran a lot of those concepts. It wasn't fully what they ran in 2019, but as we know, a lot of it was. And so you don't have to completely start over. And I think with an off season that we don't really know what it's going to look like, we don't know what spring practice is going to be. We assume they're going to get 15 practices in like they normally do, but if this last year taught us anything, we don't look too far in the future. I think that is a positive for LSU. And we'll get to the defense side, but at least offensively, you have that luxury.
Yeah, continuity is never a bad thing unless like you're just terrible, and then you have terrible continuity. Then that's not good. But that's not the case here. You had a lot of success in 2019 with the Joe Brady system. DJ Mangus and Joe Brady are lifelong friends. They're very close. DJ was the guy sitting next to Joe Brady in the press box the whole 2019 season. Yeah. And then with Jake Peetz working under Joe Brady last year, I think he said on the press conference that he spent more time with Joe Brady than anybody last year, even more than his wife. So having that continuity of system is great. We know the Joe Brady system works at the college level when you have the talent to execute it. But I think there's also enough differentiation there to bring new ideas to the table. Peetz is a little bit older. He's got a few more stops. He's got a very diverse background from strength coaching to coaching on defense, coaching on offense, college, NFL. He's got a lot to draw from now. I mean, he can pull from a lot of different areas, pull on different experiences. And when you're a young coach coordinating for the first time, which is basically what he is at this level, that can be a challenge, not having a lot to draw on. But I feel like he's got a lot to draw on because he's been in so many different spots. And that was something Steve Ensminger brought to the table. There was nothing he hadn't seen before. So if he's calling a play on 3rd and 6 or whatever, he's been in that situation before. I think with Peetz, he's got enough experience and diversity of experience where he's got some stuff to draw into, but you get the young, innovative mind and the guy that can relate to the players and the energy and the hunger and the drive and all that stuff that a young coach brings to the table. So I think it's a pretty good balance.
We were talking earlier about the offensive personnel that you have coming back, and I don't know about you, but I was surprised some of the offensive linemen that decided to come back. Now, pleasantly surprised. I didn't think there was an opportunity, and Ed Ingram probably being the one that I thought would go pro more than any other. You had to have it almost, though, because if you look up and you start to try to figure out who the offensive line would be without those guys coming back, it's pretty scary because you don't have a lot of experience. In fact, you got basically no experience if you lost who you thought you were going to lose. They have a group that is going to be a mixture of veteran players and younger players, but I think the offensive line was the most important part just because you didn't know what it was going to look like, and it could have been the bomb squad up there.
Yeah, the offensive line was inconsistent this year. They had some really good games. They had some games they struggled, but you saw what they could be potentially. So to get all those guys back, I think Dare Rosenthal still hasn't officially announced anything yet. No. I think the inference that a lot of people are making is maybe Ed Ingram and Deculus tweeted something about bringing the whole crew back. So if you do get all 5 back, like when's the last time LSU brought 5 back across the front? That's special. And then what I like is behind that, you still have guys developing. I know they're only bringing in 1 or 2 in the signing class right now on the offensive line, but you still have guys like Anthony Bradford, Cardell Thomas, who have been around, who came in with very high ceilings, lots of potential, and maybe we haven't seen it yet. Well, maybe this is when they develop, and they have the luxury afforded to them to develop because you've got Ed Ingram, who's super experienced. You've got Liam Shanahan, who's super experienced. You've got Austin Deculus, who was a starter on a national championship team. You've got some proven veteran experience there that they can take the opportunity to develop, to grow, and maybe push for one of those spots and improve that unit, unless the guys in front of them improve just as much as they do and then grow as a unit. So that's going to be one of the keys for me, is how well that offensive line plays. I look at the skill spots. I feel very good about where LSU is there across the board in every single room. The offensive line has a lot to prove next year, and I think they're hungry to prove it.
Maybe I'm bullish on this position, and maybe even I'm too critical on this position. The running back position, for me, needs to continue to grow and be more. I just think that there was, but a lot of times because of you're playing catch up in some of these games because of the defensive woes. But you've got some running backs that I think have some juice to them that I'd like to see LSU get more out of.
First of all, what do you know about running back play is what I would ask.
Not a lot.
Second of all, yes, you're right. Those guys have to take a step forward. You lose Chris Curry. He's transferred. I think he announced today that he was transferring to Utah. But
that surprised me a little bit. I thought he was maybe go a little bit closer to home.
Yeah,
but, hey, if there's ever a school that likes downhill runners, Utah.
That's true. Miami and Utah kind of opposites there. But if he can find a place to play and thrive, I'd love to see it because he's a great guy.
Yeah,
he's got there's some talent there. But yeah, Ty Davis-Price, John Emery, we saw flashes this year. They've got to continue to grow. Trey Bradford did some things at the end of the year that I think we liked. I know he dropped a couple passes. I think against Florida where he had a couple of drops. He had the
one he caught was a big one, but
he caught the touchdown pass. But I saw people saying he had trouble catching the ball. He's great with his hands. He's very, very good with his hands, which if you're looking back at that 2019 offense, to me, the thing that set that offense apart more than anything was the ability to split Clyde out and make the play he made in the touchdown at the end of the first half against Alabama. There wasn't anybody. There were maybe 4 or 5 players in the whole country at the running back spot that could make that play, maybe less. He may have been one of the very, very few. And LSU didn't have that threat this year. They didn't have the guy that you could split out. And it's like, oh, I actually have to account for him. This year they split a running back out, and they're like, yeah, we're just going to stick this linebacker on him, and he's just going to keep his eyes in the backfield because we're not worried about it.
And that's no disrespect, I don't think, to anybody. At least I don't want to put words in your mouth. I mean, Clyde was elite at what he did, but when Chris Curry lined up out there, there's not the same route tree that when Clyde Edwards-Helaire lined up.
Yeah, and they just haven't done it. Like Ty Davis-Price had a play. What game was that? He made a catch down the field that looked really impressive, and I think they called it not a catch. Was that the Ole Miss game? I'm trying to remember. It was at the end of the season. It's all a blur.
Ole Miss or A&M one too.
Maybe it was the A&M game. He caught he showed me, and I was like, oh, I didn't know he had that in his game. But we just hadn't seen it from those guys, and so if the defense hadn't seen it on film, they're not going to honor it. And so that wasn't honored this year. With Clyde, it was honored, and that opens up so much more. That allows you to make the checks. It allows you to keep personnel on the field and go tempo. And so those guys have to grow in that respect. We saw some stuff from John Emery this year that I think he's just got to continue to build on. Breaking off the big run against Alabama, he had some big games. The talent is all there if he can just piece it all together. So, and then I think LSU signed a bunch of running backs this year. I try not to pay too close of attention to recruiting until they get on campus, but I know we signed a bunch this year and a bunch of highly rated guys.
Yeah, you got one you weren't expecting too. You got the number 6 running back in the country from Alabama that you weren't expecting. Auburn makes a change after he's committed. He's from the state of Alabama, but was committed to Auburn. They make a change there, and this guy Gilmore, I mean, you get him, and that's kind of lanyap.
Yeah,
very talented running back. So they did get some guys, and I mean, if you've ever listened to my show, you know John Emery's a guy that I'm a fan of. I'd love to see them expand his role because I think he can be a route runner. I think he improved catching the football, and he's so dynamic that when he gets in space, he can hit a home run anytime he touches it. So that is a position I'd like to see them, have more of a point of emphasis to try to get involved. But again, sometimes when your defense is playing the way LSU's did in 2020, that dictates what you can do offensively.
How's that receiver room? They got any good players in that receiver room?
Heard they got like 1 or 2.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. One guy ended the season pretty
Did he?
strong.
I'm trying to jog my memory. Did he set an SEC record for receiving yards in a game?
That is true.
That sounds about right.
That is true. I am excited about that group. I mean, that position is very difficult to come from high school to college and make an impact in year one.
Yeah.
Remember, even like Jamar Chase, who may be the best to ever do it here, right? In year one, because of all the adjustments between high school and college, he was more of a red zone only guy because everything, you're swimming in it when you're a freshman at any position, but especially that position. So what Kayshon Boutte was able to do in this year and to grow up as fast as he did, because let's call it like it is, he had to. Jamar Chase opted out. Terrace Marshall opted out. So you got to become the number 1 guy. And in that situation, let's say he thrived.
Yeah, he absolutely took advantage of the opportunity. something we saw from day one. I've said this a million times. I went out there and watched camp a couple times. He was making plays like that in camp all the time. I was waiting for it this season for the breakout. It came when he got the opportunity. He took advantage of it. He's got everything. He's got a chance to be just as good as any of those guys. But then you bring back everybody that you bring back. Jeray Jenkins is going to come back. It sounds like I think he officially
I think he did
announced that. Coy Moore did some really nice things as a true freshman. Reminds me of Jarvis Landry a little bit, just kind of that really reliable possession guy, physical. I think he's got some growth that he can make as a receiver. Cole Taylor developed at tight end late in the year and really got some valuable reps. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to have any issues with who's going to catch passes next year. There's a bunch of guys that can help out there.
Yeah, Cole Taylor, valuable reps, valuable equipment malfunctions. A lot of things happen at the end of the year for Cole.
Yeah, the shoe toss. That was a heads up play by a true freshman, loosen those laces.
But Dan did say it was a football move, and when Marco jumped up, it flew 20 yards out of his hand because it was a football move. That was natural.
I mean, you've done that a million times in your career, right? Just chuck a shoe down
20
the field,
yards,
20 yards.
Because the referee told us exactly how far it was.
I was about to make that point. That's maybe my favorite thing that happened all season was the referee specifying how many yards down the field the shoe went.
So earlier on SEC this morning, it was me and Cubes, and we were doing the show. And we had a segment, Best Moments of 2020, or Most Memorable Moments of 2020. And I was like, dude, the shoe toss. The referee telling us exactly how far it went in the fog, just in case we didn't see it, and LSU ended up winning the game.
I had so much fun watching that game. It's the first game I've watched in years by myself. Wasn't completely by myself. I may have had a glass of a beverage with me handy at all times, and just sat back and watched that. And I laughed so hard when the referee pointed out the 20-yard toss. And then I knew that Cade York was going to make the field goal. It was the most enjoyable game that I've watched all season.
All right, we'll take a break. I promised LSU Hoops. We'll do that when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Sonda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. Committed to changing lives. So committed that they created the Go Local initiative. This is supporting our local businesses, the one that makes our communities feel like we're at home. GMFS is giving away $10,000 in Visa gift cards to those who visit participating Go Local businesses and enter their drawings. So learn more about the official rules at gmfsmortgage.com/Go Local. You know how we spell go around here, G-E-A-U-X, G-E-A-U-X, local, gmfsmortgage.com. If 2021 is the year that you're moving into a new home, that you're refinancing your current home, that you're adding on with a construction loan to your current home, start your financial journey at gmfsmortgage.com. Let them do for you what they did for me and they've done for thousands of others. When they talk about changing lives, they're talking about changing your monthly budget for the better. So start that financial journey today at gmfsmortgage.com.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject to credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Happy New Year from Corval Toyota in Opelousas. You can get into a new Camry for $335 a month with only $2,000 down, or choose from our pre-owned selection. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Tune into a Wednesday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from City Slice, Pints and Pizza near the campus of LSU. We're watching some SEC basketball as the Tigers take on Arkansas at 6 p.m. Come out and see us, or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hang with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richards Honda. Cody Worsham here with me for the next 40 minutes. We're going to spend the next couple of minutes talking about LSU basketball. Big game against Arkansas here coming up. Got a big win, a game that you basically had to hit a right turn when you were on your way to Como, stop in Oxford and play a game. The leading scorer gets hurt early in the game, but they found a way to dominate Ole Miss. A good win for LSU basketball, but a big challenge, I think, tonight against Arkansas.
Yeah, this next stretch for LSU is tough. You got 3 at home, Arkansas. Let me see if I can do this off the top of my head without looking. Arkansas, you got South Carolina, and then you have Alabama, who might be the best team in the SEC right now. Certainly got the best record at 5-0. And then Kentucky's in there at some point, and I don't remember who the 5th one is, maybe Texas A&M. But you got a stretch here right now where LSU is either going to make that push or, you know, I don't want to say stumble, stagger, but this is the opportunity for them to make that push. Starting with Arkansas, very good team. Eric Musselman has played LSU teams very well since he's been at Arkansas. I'm not super familiar with their personnel because they lost a bunch of guys. I think Herb Jones is still there, who's kind of their do-everything guy and one of those guys that almost feels like he's been there for a century. But Musselman just keeps bringing in grad transfers and JUCO transfers and even D1 transfers and just assembling these teams that, you know, they get up and down and run and they shoot threes and they get into you on defense. And he's got David Patrick on staff who knows the SEC and knows LSU. Right. So it's going to be a tough matchup for LSU. It's going to be a good game, I think. I think it's going to be one of those atmospheres where I don't know how many people can fit in the PMAC right now with the distancing, but however many people are there, it's going to feel like a big SEC game, so I'm excited about it.
Moses Moody, 6'6" freshman, is their leading scorer, gets 17 points per game, really good.
I think he was a 5-star kid,
Yeah, he was. Really good from beyond the arc, shooting 40% this year, 80% from the free throw line. He's their Cam. He's their guy, their young guy that gets them going. Can put the ball in the basket, and I think a lot of Eric Musselman. I do. I mean, obviously he spent a year here as an assistant. This was a guy that's been an NBA head coach. He's a Chargers fan, so he always goes up to my book for that. But I've had the chance to sit down and talk with him, and I think he's good for Arkansas. He's got that team. Even before you start signing some of those kids like Moody, he had them overachieving, and it's a basketball team that is going to play the full game.
Yeah,
they're going to play both ends of the court, and this would be a big one for LSU. I mean, I know it's at home, but what does that really mean in this basketball in 2021 in this basketball season? I don't know.
Yeah. So LSU doesn't have a quad, or they have one quad one
now.
Win.
Yeah.
1 and 2 in quad one. This would be a quad one opportunity because I believe Arkansas is 21 in the net.
Yeah.
LSU is 24. Home game, its top 25 opponent is a quad one opportunity. So That's the crazy thing about LSU. This happens every year with Will Wade. They're at this point in the season. Their record is good, not great. They lost a game in the non-conference in St. Louis that you would have rather than won. They lost one in conference against Florida. Yep. And you're thinking, they're probably like in the 40s in the net, and then you look up and they're 22 because Will has scheduled so well, even in this year where they've had to adapt the schedule constantly. So they're in a very, very good spot. But now is when you have to make that push. They've done it in years past, but they started last year in conference, 8-0 in SEC play.
At least 7.
Yeah, they started so hot last year. The year that they won the SEC, I think this was kind of when they started to make that push. Now they went 16-2 in the conference, so you kind of made the push the whole time. But this was when they really started to rattle off win after win after win, and to have 3 in a row at home. Right now you're what, 3-1 in the SEC. If you can get to 6-1 in the SEC, when you go to Kentucky, is that the next game? Am I getting the schedule right? I don't know if you have it up in front of you.
Yeah, you've got. I did have it up in front.
Oh man, I could see it in your eyes that you were flipping through the schedule with your eyes.
No,
I was hoping you saw.
Hey, you're good.
Okay.
You've got Arkansas, South Carolina, Alabama, at Kentucky,
Nailed
at
it.
Texas A&M.
Nailed it. So when you go to Kentucky, if you can be 6-1, I know Kentucky isn't quite the Kentucky of years past. They're still 3-1 in the SEC, even though they got beaten pretty handily last night by a very good Alabama team. It's a big stretch for LSU. It starts with Arkansas, who gave them fits last year, blew them out in Arkansas, probably should have beat them here. Unfortunate not to win that game. LSU got a little lucky to win that. But
Hey.
I mean, LSU dominated. But look, that's what good teams do too. That's kind of what LSU did against Georgia. They didn't have. They probably shouldn't have won that game. Although I felt the whole time that they probably would, just because of talent.
He's down 10 with 9 to go.
Yep, and then they came out and got 2 3-point plays back to back, and then they were back in it. But that's what good teams do. They find ways to win on nights where they're not very good, and then to go to Ole Miss and play your best game of the season with Cam Thomas on the sideline, to defend the way they defended, to have the game plan that they had defensively and execute it the way they did, was great. And now you just have to build on it. You have to take that effort and do the same thing against Arkansas. That's what great teams, that's what championship teams do.
So the thing that scares me about Arkansas, they score 88 points a game, which is 10th in the country. They get 43 rebounds per game, which is 6th in the country. And obviously, if you want a blueprint to beat LSU, it's score the basketball, win the rebound margin. And obviously, you say, well, it's every basketball game. No, I mean, LSU is a team, they can score. They can score with anybody in the country. You get in a shootout, I like LSU against almost anybody. But Arkansas is that team that can do the same exact thing, and they rebound at a very high clip. They only give up 67 points a game, so you're talking about a 20-point difference there. It's a really good Arkansas basketball team that's going to pose challenges. Now, they're coming in losing their last 2 games, so you could also say, well, they padded their stats. They played Mississippi Valley, and they played Lipscomb, and they played Southern, and they played Central Arkansas. So some of that's probably true, but it's still a basketball team that if you go out there, you get a win, you're definitely going to appreciate it.
Yeah, stylistically, it's going to be really interesting with LSU because really if you want to attack LSU, I think Florida kind of showed you the game plan. St. Louis kind of showed you the game plan. You got to get in the paint. You got to get to the rim, right? You got to challenge LSU at the rim because LSU doesn't have an elite rim protector. You're going to have to make threes, which LSU has been very good at this year, defending the 3-point line because of their defensive scheme. It's a lot of they're giving up or they're allowing teams to take a lot of contested threes, and but you're gonna have to offensive rebound against LSU, which a lot of teams have done this year. And so you're gonna beat LSU right now at the rim. That's the place to go offensively. Arkansas is a little bit more 3-point reliant. They shoot a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes. LSU defends the 3 very well, but they concede a lot of 3-point attempts. So that's going to be a really, really interesting matchup. Can LSU force Arkansas into contested threes? Can they force them into early, uncomfortable threes? And then can they rebound those misses? That's the huge part. And then the other thing that I said on the boot up that I failed to post before I came here,
but it's coming.
It's coming. It's Darius Days. To me, he's the X factor for this team. As he goes, this team goes. He's only the 4th leading scorer. Yeah. He is the leading rebounder. But the stat that I used on boot up, I'll go ahead and give it here, just a little teaser. In conference play, LSU's outscoring opponents by 25 points per 100 possessions when Days is on the floor. So they're blowing teams out when he's on the floor.
Yeah.
They're getting outscored by 17 points per 100 possessions when he's off the floor. That's 48 points per 100 possessions gap from when he plays to when he doesn't. So LSU goes from a dominant team to a dominated team.
And the question would be, well, why is he not on the floor more? Because he gets in foul trouble.
Foul trouble, yeah. And it's a large enough sample size now. I think it's like 160 possessions on, 100 off. And so if he can stay on the floor, it gives LSU better spacing. It makes their switching defensively better. It makes them such a better team. He is the glue that holds things together. I love Darius Days. I've loved him since he stepped on campus. Love everything about his game. He's become the player that I thought he would. He's shooting 40% from three. He's super efficient inside the paint. He grabs every rebound. He's just got to stay on the floor. And if he's on the floor, he's effective.
And it's the cheap fouls that every time he makes them, you can tell he's disappointed in himself.
Well, we've seen it for a couple of years now, too. He's gotten better at it this year. He's been on the floor more. His foul trouble hasn't been as big an issue. It wasn't against St. Louis. He just didn't play as well that game. It was against Florida, right? I think he had four fouls against Florida by the end of the game. Only played like 22 minutes and just took him out of a rhythm. If he can stay on the floor for consistent minutes and stay in a rhythm, he's going to knock down open shots. He's going to grab 5 offensive rebounds a game because he goes for him every time, and he's athletic and he reads it well, and he's got great hands. Would make a great tight end. If the football team needs another guy in that room for
we got one from the baseball team.
Got one from the baseball team. Might as well get one from the basketball team. I don't think Will would be thrilled about that. But yeah, he's the difference maker. He's the X factor. I think he's going to play well tonight. I think he's going to be the difference.
All right, we will take a break. We'll talk more football, of course, basketball as well. We've got some LSU baseball news to tell you about when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Sonda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, also brought to you by Garcia Roofing, your Baton Rouge roofing experts, roofing, siding, and gutters. Look, they've been doing this since 1992, and that is all of Baton Rouge, the entire area, Prairieville, Gonzales, Denham Springs, Livingston, St. Francisville. If you have a roofing issue, they are the only place to go. You can find them online at GarciaDidMyRoof.com. And remember, I tell you all the time, of course, you're talking about roof replacement and commercial roofing. They can handle the big jobs, but don't forget about the small jobs as well, roof cleaning and roof repair, and take full advantage of that free roof inspection. You've heard me say 100 times what it did for me. It saved me thousands of dollars when the other company was trying to get a fast one over on me. Garcia Roofing did not allow that to happen. They told me exactly what I needed and saved me thousands of dollars. You can go to the website again, GarciaDidMyRoof.com, or pick up the phone, give them a call today, 225-756-3100.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject to credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Coming up on Thursdays Off the Bench. Recap the hardwood. How did LSU fare against Arkansas? And did the Pels manage to stop their slide? Plus, break down the press conference of LSU's new offensive coaches, as well as the continued search for a DC. Off the Bench. 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, we're back here hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard's Honda. Without the Handy, Cody Worsham sitting in for the next 30 minutes or so. All right, you mentioned Pro Football Focus a little bit earlier in the show.
One of my favorites.
I've got one for you.
Okay.
Pro Football Focus College Edition.
Okay.
Eli Ricks, 89.1% grade in single coverage. You know where that sits in the country?
Probably pretty high.
Number one.
He
was the highest rated college football player in one-on-one coverage. So
makes sense.
I say that to say this. The next defensive coordinator coming in has 2 lockdown corners. There's not a lot of places that fired their defensive coordinator for the amount of points that they gave up that can sell, hey, look what we have.
Yeah.
You've got some defensive linemen coming back, and I think the young defensive linemen might, by the end of it, they might be the starters with Jaquelin Roy and the way he played to end the season. And you've got some questions at the safety and linebacker position. I'm not oblivious to that, but you do have 2 lockdown corners. That's a pretty good starting point.
Yeah, you're very good at defensive line and cornerback. There's no question about that. When you look at the guys that LSU brings back, everybody up front basically that you ended the season with, from Glenn Logan to Neil Farrell, and you mentioned Jaquelin Roy. You're going to bring in Mason Smith, a 5-star signee from
Andre Anthony. Yeah.
Andre Anthony getting after it. BJ Ojolari. I mean, Ali Gay. Like, you can go up and down. There are some dudes up front.
Oh, we like to say guys and dudes. Like, if you're a guy, it's like you're okay, but a dude, it's a different conversation. So I'm glad you picked up on that.
Dudes galore up front, and dudes galore at corner too. With Stingley didn't have the picks this year, but if you look at his numbers completion wise, I think he ended up still a first-team All-American or something. He if you take out the Missouri game, like if you look at Stingley's stats and take out the Missouri game where he sprained his ankle, over the was it at the down marker or something?
Yeah.
He played through a sprained ankle. If you take out I think there were 6 of 6 throwing his way that game, and there was some zone and there was some weird stuff that game. Take out that game, his numbers are dominant. Like, I think it was like under 30% completions allowed.
Right.
I may be exaggerating that, but it's like 30-something%. And he had a bunch of PBUs and didn't get the picks, but was Stingley.
Just got to get him back to being healthy as well.
If he gets healthy and gets back to being the ball hawk, I think I'm not worried about him. But even behind that, like Jay Ward stepped up at the end of the season. We saw some stuff from Dwight McLaughlin. There are some guys there that Flott in the right role. All those guys can be very, very good at what they do. Now, are they your number one corner? Probably not. But do they have something at nickel that they can do for you? Definitely. And then you look at safety and linebacker, and the guys that you bring in. Sage Ryan's name comes to mind as a true freshman, 5-star that maybe steps in and there's a spot for him right away. You'll see who you get back. You lose Jacoby Stevens. You'll see who you get back. Like I don't. We were talking about this in the break. I don't know what the status is of like a Todd Harris or somebody like that. But
I mean, there's some other names, Cam Lewis and some other ones.
And then Maurice Hampton, guys that Maurice Hampton. If you go back to I was looking at some stuff because it's the 1-year anniversary of the national championship game. I was looking at some stuff
today.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize.
Isn't it? That's why I texted you that earlier. You didn't get that joke?
Well, no, I got it, but I thought it was just like because it was like around
just
the day.
You thought it was generally 1 year.
We had to put up with all the conversation, which team was better. Like, we know which team was better. So I thought you were just saying, hey.
Gotcha.
Here's a reminder.
Let me cite my sources.
Okay.
Zach von Rosenberg tweeted something about the 1 year today, 42-25, and then I saw a bunch of people posting pictures. Okay. So I'm assuming so.
We can't air what
I'm not.
Sent me,
yeah. No, we definitely can't air that. Don't air that. Yeah. I mean, some of it's okay, but some of it's not okay. So let's avoid that. Mo Hampton was the point that I was making. He was very good on that 2019 team in the role when he had to play that center field role, and Grant Delpit was in the box, and he was very, very good at that. So There are guys that, there are dudes on this defense that, when put in the right spot, can fulfill their dudeness, right? They can really make plays and be effective. I just think this year there was such a disconnect between all 11 guys on the field at times that it was just nobody maximized their potential really, except probably for Eli Ricks, who you started this segment with.
Yeah.
He tapped into it. He was challenged a lot. He took advantage of that. Everybody else left something out there, and I hope that makes them hungry, and I hope that a coordinator looks at that and is like, man, there's a bunch of talent over there, and if I go put my system in, they can be dominant.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll give a couple of guys that I want to pump some sunshine for, and I want to.
I love pumping sunshine.
Yeah. State media, and there's one position as a whole that I think needs improvement. Sunshine, I think that you can look at Jaquelin Roy, who we've already talked about. The way he finished the season, he was as advertised, and he figured it out. I mean, he was dominant the last couple of games. And you go back and you watch the all 22, even plays where you didn't maybe recognize it on TV that he affected the play.
Yeah.
I was highly impressed. Micah Baskerville, and not because he's 3-1-8, 3-1 great, not because he went to Evangel, none of that. It's because he came in a difficult situation because the guy in front of him wasn't getting the job done, and I thought he played well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was in the right spot most of the time. Still things he can improve on. I like where he's at, and he's coming back. But you have to get better at the nickel position.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever it is has to be better, because that is where college football games are won and lost. That's where LSU won games in 2019. That's where they made the biggest improvement. When games were close at the beginning of the year, Kerry Vincent was struggling. Kerry was playing really, really well at the end of the year, and he was a difference maker out of the nickel position. And you started to see LSU continue to pull away from teams, and the defense got better. And I think it's that position, because in college football now, your best receiver will line up in the slot.
Yep.
It's no longer you're going to play X or you're going to play Z, you're going to be on the edge. No, they'll put their best guy, they'll motion their best guy to the slot as well. That position, to me, it has to go up, and it has to go up a lot, not just a little.
Yeah, I mean, the stats speak for themselves. If you go look at, we were talking about Pro Football Focus, if you look at the guys that played nickel this year, they gave up the bulk of the yards, the bulk of the touchdowns. We saw some things from Jay Ward at the end of the year that were positive. Flott had a couple games, especially A&M, where he was good. But that can't be what you do. It can't be 1 or 2 games of dominance. It's got to be the whole season. And so those guys have the ability to do it, but I hope there's some more depth in that room this year. I hope they take strides and improve and get better, because you're right. Kerry, I don't know what the reputation of a Kerry Vincent is among the fan base necessarily. I do know that the nickel in particular, if he gives up a completion, everyone's like, oh, this guy's terrible, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If you look at Kerry's numbers from the whole season, you could even lump in the Texas game where he gave up a lot of completions to Duvernay.
Yeah.
He was one of I think he was a top 3 nickel for the whole season in terms of passer rating, interceptions, completion percentage. He was very, very good. And you could drop him back to safety, and he could cover the field like he did against, I think it was Oklahoma, where he made that interception. And so he was versatile.
Only his speed could have made that play.
Yeah. I love that play because pre-snap he was in the wrong place. And if you go back and look at it, if we can relive,
we got Skylar Green situation.
Yeah, he was in the wrong place, and same number too. And Grant Delp had shoved him and pointed, and then as the ball was being snapped, and so Kerry just sprints back to center field and then makes an incredible play on the ball. That's the level that you have to get to, right? And I agree with you. That position, it's almost like the quarterback of the defense, not in terms of the assignment necessarily, but just the impact. If you're not good at nickel, you're going to struggle. If you're not good at quarterback, you're going to struggle on offense. If you're not good at nickel, you're going to struggle on defense. So they got to get that spot hammered down, and somebody's got to step up and emerge there.
And I'll be honest with you, my hope is that they keep Corey Raymond as the only DB coach, and that's nothing against Bill Bush. I had great conversations with Bill Bush. Bill Bush was a guy that did a lot of good things for LSU football, including recruiting and getting some grad transfers here. We all know that. But now that Bill has moved on, my hope is that you only have one guy in that room. And I'll always cite what Ryan Clark said. When you're talking offensive line, the guards and tackles don't have different meeting rooms. The center's not in a different meeting room. I do like having that entire unit together. Now, Corey's done it before and done it at a high level.
Yeah.
And so I think nothing gets lost in communication when you're in 2 different rooms, because you're all trying as a defensive backfield to have the same common goal. It's like telephone Pictionary or whatever, when you're playing that game, and by the time it gets to the 10th person, the narrative's completely changed in what you said the first time.
Are you saying that LSU had defensive communication issues this season?
I might be saying
it's a bold assertion, sir.
Hey, this. The emoji that's just doing this, that's the LSU defense in 2020, because everyone was pointing in the direction that they thought they were going to be in, and then this.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm making I don't know.
Yeah, that's never a good posture for a defender to be making. So hopefully there's less of that this year. That'd be great.
Yeah, so I just think, and then you're able to also, because of that, you can add another coach maybe elsewhere, because you had two different there, so you have two positions, and if Corey fills just that one spot, then you wherever else you feel like you needed
like a
help,
tight ends coach or
Yeah, and that's a tough discussion because you have a passing game coordinator as well, so it's. Do you have that many coaches on offense compared to defense with your head coach and is going to be involved in the defensive line, so he's technically helping there as well. Could DJ Mangus be a receiver / tight end guy where he helps Mickey a little bit and goes – I mean, there's possibilities.
Yeah.
But if you did that and you only had one defensive back coach, it's lanyap. We like to say lanyap here in Louisiana. Well, you'd have a little lanyap. You can place that guy wherever you felt like he was needed.
Yeah, I remember when they hired Bill Bush, it was almost the way that it was framed was, look, Corey Raymond has been coaching the whole room. Now he can just focus on the corners. We have somebody to focus on the safeties. And there was some success. I mean, you won a national championship.
Yeah, Grant Delpit in 18.
Yeah, you had some great success there, but maybe it's time to pivot the other way. I don't know. Right. That's for the head coach to decide.
Hey, that's my personal take is I felt
but again,
like
what do you know
lost.
about football? I just don't feel like you have any credibility
I think
on the subject.
That's a very, very fair question. You know what? When we come back, we'll finish up with more football talk because why not? I mean, we're sitting here
at least I know what I'm talking about.
We talked about basketball for a full segment. We'll get a final thought about basketball, but I do want to ask you one more football question. We've got you for one more segment. Dr. Etheredge from Brock will join us at 2 o'clock. Marlon Favorite, former LSU national champion, will join us at 2:15. Still a bunch to get to here on Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic as well here on Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. We've told you over the last couple of weeks, it is so convenient over at Patient Plus, and I know it is for me. I've got 4 boys. Things happen, and they happen at the most inconvenient times, right? Open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 6 locations in the Baton Rouge area. Walk-ins are welcome. They accept most major insurances, and you can check in online at patientplusuc.com. So it's incredibly convenient for you. Right, and there's a numerous amount of things, right? If you have the flu, if you have a cold, if you have a sports injury, we all know those are things that you can go to Patient Plus with. They see you for multiple things. They do sports physicals over at Patient Plus. We talked about international travel, right? You got a couple of long weekends coming up. You got Valentine's Day, Mardi Gras. We know it's not going to look like we know it to look, but you have that break, so maybe you're going with some international travel. If you want to get that COVID testing before, just to be sure, they can do that over at Patient Plus as well. Again, that's patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject to credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Tune into a Wednesday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from City Slice, Pints and Pizza near the campus of LSU. We're watching some SEC basketball as the Tigers take on Arkansas at 6 p.m. Come out and see us or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda, here with Cody Worsham for one more segment. I mentioned that we talk a little bit more football, but really it's just I want to get a timetable from you and when you want to see LSU fill its complete coaching staff, because if you are tossing around some NFL names, if you want to be respectful and you don't want to name someone while they're still coaching, technically, as you know, you could go into February. You could go past the second signing day. Not to say that is completely handcuffing what you can do, because we talked about the signing class basically being already finished for the most part. And in fact, you've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys already enrolled in school. So that part of it's not a big factor for me. I just think with football school, which is football without the ball out there right now, you'd like to have some defensive coaches out there. So what's your timetable and what you'd like to see?
I mean, I think realistically, there's already been a couple interviews reported, and if those guys would have been hired, it would have been then. So I think now is the timetable. I think as soon as you can. Now, I don't think there's an immediate rush. I don't think it has to be done today or tomorrow. Part of the beauty of the early signing period is that you do it, like you mentioned, you have that recruiting class basically done. So it's not really going to affect recruiting much, although I know there's a couple more guys to sign and fill out the class. So it's really more about spring football and when that starts and being ready to go for that, and when you kind of start the prep for that, as you mentioned, football school. So I would say that, as soon as they find the right guy and they can get him in for an interview, they'll pull the trigger, but you're not, it doesn't have to be done, COB tomorrow, right? Like you've got a little time.
That's a close of business for all you rookies.
That's a Levitard show reference for
yes,
all
it
you
is.
Rookies.
Oh, you're probably pretty sad about that, huh?
No, well, I mean,
you were a big fan.
Well, they're still doing pods, and
okay.
They got a whole other thing going on. It's not on ESPN Radio, which is a pretty good place to have a radio show if you're going to do one. But they're still doing stuff. But no, I don't think there's a super hurry. At the same time, as soon as they find that guy, close the deal, get it done, and move forward.
I agree with you. The football school part of it, obviously, that's new. That's not something that's always been there. And Coach O mentioned that he can handle the defensive line. You've got Corey for the defensive backfield. Obviously, you have one position, but let's not act like there's not someone, a GA or someone on that staff that can't coach the linebackers during a football school or a front seven situation. You do have I don't know how many dollars it costs, but the walkthrough room, you have that at your fingertips as well, where you can put whatever you need up there. Maybe it's being greedy. I'd love to hear a name or two. Coach O even mentioned, I think it was last week, he'd like to have it in place for the team meeting they just had on Monday. And if Marcus Freeman, like you said, would have worked out, then you would have gone in that direction. So now it's a little bit of a pivot, and it does feel like it's going to be an NFL move just because of some of the things that he said today. And it's one of the things I love about Coach O is how transparent he really is, because we've all been around coaches that are not transparent. And I love Coach Miles. I named one of my sons after Coach Miles. Everyone knows that. Not the most transparent guy.
No, he had a different approach, and Coach O is pretty. He puts it all out there, and I think he said today on today's press conference he's got like a specific name in mind already with the job, even though they've done a couple interviews in the last couple of days. So we'll see. I think when we get to next fall, like we'll look back and however the defense performs, I don't think we'll be like, man, they didn't hire a guy by January 13th. That's why we're struggling right now, or they hired a guy by January 17th. That's why we're dominant right now. I don't think that makes that much of a difference, but I think. Yeah, the next few days, you'd like to get your guy in if it's possible. If he's available to interview, get him in, start moving forward. The sooner you can start moving forward, the better. Because, look, the offense, there's a lot to build on. The defense has so much to work on and fix, and you got to start that process as quickly as you can.
All right, final thought on LSU basketball. Kind of give us your prediction and tease that podcast that you forgot to load.
Yeah, so I forgot to load the podcast before I came in, so – you've got about 6 hours. No, not even 6 hours. The game's at 6. You got about 4 hours to listen to that podcast if you want to get it in before the game. I did make it evergreen. Literally, as soon as I finish talking this sentence, I'm going to sprint down to my car and post it so people can turn off this radio show. No, I'm kidding. Finish this radio show and then listen to the podcast. It'll be there. It's on demand. Yeah. But yeah, we talked about everything. But basically, if you've been in football mode for the last 6 months or however long, 5 months, and you're just now pivoting to basketball, this is a great place to hop in. I talk about the team at large, talk about Darius Days, his impact, Cam Thomas. Hopefully he's healthy and ready to go. It's going to be a big game. Excited for LSU tonight. Getting that Arkansas matchup. It's a huge one. Hopefully it feels like a big SEC atmosphere despite the limited attendance. Hopefully Cam Thomas plays, scores 30 points. Javonte Smart and Trenton Watford get 20 each, and Darius Days gets a double-double, and the Tigers win.
Real quick, we got 30 seconds. Anything on Sharif O'Neal? You expect him to be back?
I think Will said Saturday is the earliest that they're shooting for. It sounds like he's out for tonight. They're hopefully shooting for Saturday. He was doing some stuff in rehab this weekend where they feel like with his ankle where they feel like he could be ready for Saturday. So hopefully that's where he's back.
Love to see him back in the lineup and try to be that rim protector that we know LSU basketball is searching for and hoping for as they continue in the SEC slate. All right, Cody, we appreciate it as always. Boot Up podcast in about 6 minutes from his car.
Yep, I'm going by.
All right, Dr. Etheredge, when we come back from Brock, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
$14,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford Expedition XLT. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
From Corval Toyota in Opelousas. You can get into a Corolla for $239 a month with only $2,000 down, or choose from our pre-owned selection. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi with the latest on the James Harden saga. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne report the Rockets' front office is currently weighing best final trade offers from the Nets and 76ers for the star guard. Meantime, the Nets dealing with a distraction as well. Guard Kyrie Irving will miss a fifth straight game tonight against the Knicks for personal reasons. This is the NBA reviews of videos circulating on social media of a maskless Irving at what appears to be a family event. ESPN NBA reporter Brian Windhorst.
Kyrie has made it very clear with his actions and some of his words that basketball is becoming less of a priority to him. And so knowing that, I think that has to inform the way the Nets and Durant look at this. And if I was considering having Kyrie on my team, that's the way I would have to look at it too.
Brian Windhorst on Barton Hahn. The NBA's postponed tonight's Hawks-Suns game because of COVID protocols. NFL from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Vikings assistant GM George Payton agreed on a 6-year contract to be the Broncos' new GM. Bears announced that coach Matt Nagy and GM Ryan Pace will be back for the 2021 season. The team also announcing that neither is getting a contract extension.
Look, we all accidentally damage our phones. It happens. Now, Straight Talk Wireless's new Platinum Unlimited plan includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, data, and more. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard's Honda. Of course, without the Hanny, my man is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Dr. Etheredge from Brock, and of course, you can check them out at brortho.com. Joins us like he does every single Wednesday. So did you, like, when you were leaving the facility, did you dap my man Hanny up? Did you get a chance to see him and, hey, you know, tip your cap to him, say best wishes? And
hadn't seen him yet. Wednesday I'm always on campus most of the day, so that's why it works out well. But so yeah, I'll look for him tomorrow.
Will he be able to, like, run a 40-yard dash after getting some new hips?
Or? Oh yeah, he'll be flying. Sure.
Hey, my man was, as you know, I mean, you've seen him every Wednesday you're here. It was a lot to get up in this chair. So I'm happy for my guy.
Yeah, he was hurting. You could tell for sure.
Yeah. And that's one actually pretty quick. I mean, quick-ish recovery considering what it is. So
yeah, with the hips, you know, they again, it's a big surgery. If you've ever seen one, it's brutal to watch. And you're like, man, they'll never walk again when you see it. It's insane.
Man, he's not listening.
Yeah. No, I waited until I never had that discussion with them.
Right.
But the crazy thing is they come out, they wake up already feeling better usually.
Right.
Now it is a recovery, of course. It's a big surgery, but I think just to get rid of that pain, the cause of their pain really helps them out.
All right, so there was some news in SEC baseball, and it comes from who else? Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball. SEC athletic directors have approved a normal baseball season structure for this spring. No change to the conference schedule. ADs also voted to increase the SEC travel roster from 27 to 30. Now, we thought it could be different. I believe Coach Maneria was on with Skip and Cano when they were filling in for Hanny and I when we were out on vacation, and thought maybe it would go another way. But this is kind of big news, the fact that they're going to keep it like it was and increase the travel roster size, because we didn't really know, Doc, if baseball was going to have to change their format because of all the testing protocols, or what baseball would really look like.
Yeah, when we first started talking about it, I think most of us honestly thought that it might be a different schedule, conference-only schedule, something along those lines, kind of like we do with football, and we've kind of seen with other sports. But I think they looked at it, and I think what we did is we changed some of the protocols. At least what they have to have is just a single negative test within 72 hours of the first game. So even for a weekend series, that's what we're probably going to be doing. Now it needs to be a PCR test, and those are the ones that are a little bit more expensive, take a little more time to get back. Yeah. And that's the one thing I worry about, for some of the smaller schools, maybe, when you're talking about budget. I mean, we're all feeling it right now. And I do worry about, there might be some of those games if we're playing, one of these, a school without the resources we do that may not be able to get that done. But I think outside of maybe a few of those games, we're going to try and roll as usual, as best we can.
I'm glad you mentioned smaller schools, and I know this is probably going to be difficult for you to answer, but you've been around different places. My worry for the smaller schools, and maybe I'm completely off base, the ones that are trying to play football now in the spring, and I look at some of the Southland Conference teams that are in our state. So it seems to me, just being an adult and having a budget, that it would be better for them to spread it out, fall sports, winter sports, spring sports, as far as their testing cost. But now you're talking about football, baseball, men's, women's basketball, all testing at the same time. And my hope is, because you know how expensive this can be, my hope is that they're able to absorb that and not have to fold their programs because everything hit them at one time. I was interviewing a group of 5 AD last week, and at that point, he said for non-football sports, they had spent $400,000, I believe, on testing alone.
It's the cost is very, very high for and the reality. I mean, just what we've spent. Just looking at football, if you just consider just LSU, just the required weekly testing in season for competition, you're already at about $500,000 that we spent this past year. And then, that's not even counting any of the extra cost that goes into that. You have more cleaning supplies, you have to buy masks, you have to buy extra buses or rent extra buses, and every little thing. And it really does start to add up. Even the way that we're preparing food, doing individual meals and packaging them, it doesn't sound like a lot, but then when you add that up, multiply that by how many days we're talking about, how many players you have, it really does start to take its toll. And I think I am worried about these smaller conferences. They went at the spring with the hope. And I think what we're hoping is that maybe as we roll into spring, the testing will continue to get cheaper. I know that the prices are coming down slowly.
Okay, I was going to ask you that. How big of a difference has it been, say, May till now? Is it a difference you would notice?
It is, and it's. I think the things that are beneficial is they're easier. You're getting them back quicker, so maybe some of the manpower is less. The actual cost of the test is coming down, but the problem is sometimes, just like a lot of things in anything, you get what you pay for. So you got to be careful. You don't want to use a lesser quality product. I know our testing, we've probably seen about a 10% drop in the past 6 months since the season started. They did lower the prices per test a little. And I'm hoping that will continue. And there are other means and things that are available. There are other resources that we're hoping. I know early on we were really excited about the saliva test, and there was going to be only a couple $2 a test. But we just,
that, yeah.
We're still waiting to see a little bit better accuracy on that and an ability to do it a little bit more rapidly. And that's where we're running into problems. But each day we are getting better at this, and I do hope that maybe even just another month, because I will say each month that we've gotten better. Cost comes down a little. I think we're more comfortable with certain things. So I'm hoping that will let them play, because I hope for these kids they get that chance.
Now, I don't know if you can answer this, but since we've found out what it is and how challenging this pandemic was going to be, did all sports kind of start the testing at the same time? So kind of asking that to say baseball players aren't going to be completely shocked, or gymnastics athletes or softball's not like, wait a minute, we got to do what? How many times a week? They've already been through this process?
Yeah, they've already been basically just in order to work out. So, for example, once we brought any group in, let's say softball, when we brought them in the fall to do some workouts, it wasn't the same protocol necessarily. So, for example, with football, we had to have 3 negative tests a week and all the stuff we were doing.
Yeah.
Out of season sports, it was more randomized. It was kind of almost like what you'd have with maybe drug testing, but more frequent than that.
Right.
But maybe not doing everybody 3 times a week. You kind of stagger them, but still they've been tested. And then, of course, anybody that has symptoms, we're testing them right away.
Contact tracing, any changes there, or same kind of thought process that football had with the spring sports?
Right now, it's the same because basically
they're still wearing devices. Is that right?
Yeah, the devices were used the whole season with football. I'm not sure if we're gonna do that with the other sports.
Okay,
probably will.
Yeah.
And then
I've seen the numbers in football much larger than every other sport.
And so at least it'll be easier when we're looking at some of these other sports. And my question is, depending on the sport, is it really necessary for, say, baseball, because we know they're not going to be close to the opposing team that much. Outside of the batter's box, maybe the catcher is the only one you're ever going to be near.
Yeah.
But I think we're still working on some of the spring protocols. We're hoping to get them there. It's interesting. I mean, it's going to be different, but we'll see.
It's even amazing what's changed and how much has changed since we started having you on. I guess that was, obviously we've had you on before, but really weekly over the time period, there's been things that have been brought up. There's been things that have changed. There's been this test is better than that test, and obviously we're all kind of learning this together. But I mean, y'all really haven't had the opportunity to even step back and take a look at it, because you just got through a football season. Now we're talking about other sports, and I've got to imagine it becomes a little overwhelming.
It does. I think I will say, after football ended, I think a lot of us, I know myself, I took at least a deep breath, because at least we made it, and we now know we can do it. Yeah. And even though, to your point, we already had basketball going on, then we have gymnastics, we have all these other sports that are about to start up, but I do think that just knowing we could do it was huge, and that we made it through, and despite concerns, despite a lot of naysayers out there, we really got through it well. And I think, it's hats off to everybody that was involved in it, really at any level, because it is a lot of work. And I think that a lot of people put in the hours are ungodly at times, but we were able to get through it. But like you said, now we're looking into this new year and new challenges.
I didn't mean to put that, you're like, oh man, wait a minute. I just took that deep breath, and now thanks, Hester.
No, we're ready. We're ready.
And if I'm not mistaken, no SEC sport has been affected, men's or women's, as far as what they can and can't. They're all still moving forward and doing what the plan's been. Nobody's had to, I don't want to say shut it down, but everybody's continuing to move towards a common goal.
Yeah, we're continuing to roll forward.
Are you still having conference meetings? Not as regular,
Not as regular, but yeah, we're still discussing pretty often. We're still having our regular staff meetings. I mean, with the start of the new year, we kind of took a step back and looked at all of our policies. And the thing that makes it a little bit difficult is SEC has policy, LSU has policy, but each school does have to adhere to their state. So going talking about the contact tracing, all that, we've got to do what the Louisiana Department of Health says, which might be different than what, say, Florida or Alabama or some of these other schools based on their state legislature too. So we have our policies, the SEC has policy, but then sometimes the SEC says, well, you can do this, but our state may not let us. So, for example, that's going to be something that we have to kind of deal with, because some of our rules are going to be a little different, at least based on looking state to state right now.
That's not even something that I really put too much into. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, every state law is different. I knew that part, and we talked about that initially with Commissioner Sankey, but even at this point, every state's in a different spot. Now, almost every state's going through their own struggles right now, but there's obviously some that the numbers are going to be different, and that's not even really something I put into my brain that, man, this situation in Tennessee is different than here, and they're doing that while we can't do that, or we can do this, but Tennessee can't do that. That's something that I didn't even really put into my thought process. Just something y'all deal with every day.
Yeah, and it's something I even forget sometimes, because I'll hear, oh, we got this new rule and it's great, but then if our Department of Health doesn't, side with that, then we're still maybe left doing it a different way. And so that's that's something that has been a little bit challenging because we feel good about something or something changes, but then we realize, well, we can't do it until they sign off on it. Even some of the stuff with some of the quarantines, when they shortened the time frame, we had to wait until LDH signed off on it, which is, they were quick too, which was helpful. I was a little nervous they might drag their feet, but they but there was a few days where technically the rule with the SEC was we could follow the CDC guideline, but there was about a week there where we were still waiting. So.
All right, Dr. Etheredge from Brock. Of course, you can check him out online, brortho.com. We'll take a break. We're going to talk Saints Buccaneers. When we come back, we still got Ask Us to come in the show. Don't go anywhere. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you every single day by Gotros Outdoor Power. Of course, 2 locations locally. Airline at Industriaplex in Baton Rouge. Airline at 74 in Gonzales. They have all the SCAG power equipment that you could ever need. The showrooms are set up for success. You walk in there, I promise you, you want to walk out with a SCAG power equipment. So many different things that they offer, commercial and residential wise. We tell you about every single day as well. The free delivery across the state of Louisiana. So we encourage you, go to GoTrosOutdoorPower.com, go to new equipment. All you got to do is click on the SCAG. And, of course, it's going to pull up to 0% for 60 months that we tell you about every single day as well. But it shows you exactly what they have available, which is so much, and they offer so many different pieces of equipment. We would encourage you to go check out those showrooms. Or, again, if you're in the state of Louisiana, you can't get to Baton Rouge or Gonzales, GoTrosOutdoorPower.com for that free delivery across the state of Louisiana. That's GoTros. We make it easy.
It's the divisional round in the NFL playoffs. Our coverage starts Saturday at 3:35 when the Packers host the Rams, followed by Bills-Ravens at 7:15. Then Sunday, the Chiefs host the Browns at 2:05, followed by the Saints-Buccaneers at 5:40. The NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject to credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Coming up on Thursday's Off the Bench. Recap the hardwood. How'd LSU fare against Arkansas? And did the Pels manage to stop their slide? Plus, break down the press conference of LSU's new offensive coaches, as well as the continued search for a DC. Off the Bench. 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda here on a Wednesday afternoon. Going to go now to New Orleans, Louisiana. One of my former teammates, national champion, former LSU Tiger, former Super Bowl champion with the New Orleans Saints, Marlon Favorite joins us now. Big Fave, what's up, my man?
What's happening, Hester, baby? What's happening, Hanny? Hey, Happy New Year, fellas. Go Tigers. And you know we live down here in the 504.
Hey, Hanny, my man's not even here today. I'm Han Solo because my man Hanny is getting 2 new hips as we speak.
No. Well,
hey, it's okay. He's going to be the bionic man when he comes back. He's going to be able to do all those defensive line drills that you do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Well, I hope he gets well fine, bro.
All right, before we get to LSU, I do want to ask you a couple of things. With the New Orleans Saints playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you spending some time in the NFL, obviously you know how difficult it can be to play a divisional opponent. It's tough to beat them twice. New Orleans trying to beat Tampa Bay for the 3rd time this season. They dominated them both times they played. Big Fave. I mean, the games weren't even close. I know TB12's on that other sideline, but I still have to imagine the Saints feel pretty good going into this matchup, knowing they've dictated the pace in both games they've beaten the Buccaneers.
They did, Hester. They did. And what I like mostly about this Saints team right now is the way their defense is able to level up, particularly inside the trenches up front where your boy Big Fave played at. If you look at something that's familiar to you, Hester, the rotation in the interior line for the Saints kind of puts you in the mindset of me and Glenn and being able to have Big Charles Alexander get in, Drake Nevis, L. Woods, Ricky Jean Francois, had a group of guys where the level of play didn't go down no matter who got in right, or what guy was in as a starter. So the Saints have that rhythm going on their front line right now. With Shai Tuttle and David Onyemata, big Malcolm Brown clogging in the middle up, and, of course, Sheldon Rankin. So those guys are able to stay fresh and add more pressure to the quarterback and be efficient in the run game. So I think that's the highlight of that Saints team right now, the ability to have rotation up front.
Big Fave, I know you've noticed the swag that the New Orleans Saints defensive backs have had as well. They're playing at an extremely high level. They're talking their trash, but they're walking their walk. They're baiting other players into getting 15-yard penalties. They have really been the unit on the defense that has raised their level of play, and it's made New Orleans defense so dynamic. And I know that you love seeing that back there.
I do, but I'm taking us back to our freshman and sophomore years. The amount of Florida boys that we had on our team and the amount of trash that they were able to talk, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has that. He definitely has it. Hester, I don't know what he's telling these guys, but for him to get inside their head to where they're getting ejected from the game and really not playing up to speed speaks volumes about the mental game that the Saints got going on in secondary. You know, Marshawn talked a little trash as well. So I like that confidence. A guy our age as well, Malcolm Jenkins, to be able to have that leadership. He's been there before, won 2 Super Bowls with us in 2009 and again with the Eagles. You look at the amount of leadership led by DeMario Davis as well, just been not only talking his past, but being a vocal leader. This Saints defense is being able to be on fire. So the 3rd time around, Hester, you know how it is, brother. It's to sweep a team is a lot, but this time Brady, Tampa Bay Brady team is much different than when we played them the first 2 times. I think Antonio Brown has gotten his rhythm. We see the 7 Wars very own, LSU's very own, Leonard Fournette starting to get in the rhythm. And those things do worry me as well in this game. But, again, defense wins championships, so we'll see.
Catching up with Marlon Fave right here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Big Fave, when you look at the Saints offense, obviously Drew coming back from the injury, I think last game out you started to see obviously the old Drew Brees. I thought he was efficient. I thought he pushed the ball as good as he's done since the injury. And obviously, that's a little bit of a challenge for him this year. Obviously, you don't love the turnover there with Taysom Hill, but Alvin Kamara, Murray showed up in the backfield there. Michael Thomas gets his first touchdown of the year. Harris gives you something you weren't expecting, right? He comes back as an all-pro returner. Do you think offensively the Saints are in a good enough rhythm to win this playoff game?
They are, Hester. If you mentioned Alvin Kamara, that six touchdown game spoke volumes about him being able to pound the ground game. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rhythm between Drew Brees and all of those weapons, right? We know that when Michael Thomas was out, Emmanuel Sanders stepped up, and he did an exceptional job. We know that when Alvin Kamara was out last week, we saw other guys on offense step up, even all the way to Ty Montgomery. So I like that. I think the offense has enough weapons. I am a bit worried about the underneath game. And what I mean by that is that short pass with Devin White and my boy Dave. Those guys run sideline to sideline exceptionally well. So that short passing game, the little screen to the Alvin Kamara and all of that stuff, I think that Tampa defense is going to be ready. So I don't know. I do think that it'll be a good game. It'll be a challenge. But this is a more improved Tampa team. So, when we get through this one, go on the Lambeau leaving, baby.
All right, Big Phase, let's transition to some LSU football. Obviously, you've got some coordinators on the offensive side of the football hire, but let's go to your world, the defense. Obviously, Bo Pelini did not work out in his reunion with LSU football. Now you're looking for a defensive coordinator to come in and fix those problems where you were next to last in the SEC. Obviously, you've still got some talent there. You've got two shutdown corners that Cody Worsham and I just talked about a couple segments ago. You got some defensive linemen that have decided to come back. A guy like Glenn Logan coming back for that extra year. Still some things to fix there in the back end at the safety position, but anything that you'd like to see with this next defensive coordinator coming in for LSU football?
Well, one of the things that I see that they'll have to adjust is being able to properly use the talent that we have there. I know we have some guys coming in and recruiting, but it just seemed like this year, I don't know if you saw that, Hess, but it just seemed like this entire year those guys were a bit out of sync up front, whether they were out of gap or wasn't playing with their proper hands. And I know a lot of that has to do with being in a 3-4 defense the last few years. But at that same token, I guess we wanted to see a little more. So, I can imagine a guy just throwing a name out there like a Chris Richard, spent some time out there in Seattle, knows how those good defenses are supposed to look, won a Super Bowl. I think he's someone that can come in and really, just if I would have just throw a name out there, someone to that caliber. I know that the look is going to continue having a role, but just in choosing who we bring in, look at the personnel that we have so that way we can get if we're going to go multi-D, let's do it the right way. If we're going to go 4-3, let's do it the right way and make sure that the guys have a full spring. So that's why I was kind of a little understand business is business, but I just feel like even with Coach Pelini, it's like I wish he could have had a spring with those guys. It was kind of a rush deal with the pandemic here, but hey, we're LSU and we have the talent, so hopefully we find someone that gets the job done.
Big Favor, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, but you mentioned some of the different fronts, 4-3, 3-4, 3-3-5. I mean, you could throw 4-2-5 out there. But when you're a defensive lineman, how different is it if you're trying to play that 3-4 or the 3-3-5 compared to a 4-3 defense? Because as we know, 4-3 defenses they're not played in college football anymore. Never do you line up in an under defense with the Sam linebacker on the line of scrimmage. You're basically in a 4-2-5 most of the time anyway. But for you, a guy that was inside there at that nose position, how different is it in what you're asked to do?
Well, it's a lot different when you go from being that shade over the center or even lining up inside the guard in that A-gap, but, cheating towards the guard. Or even at the 3 technique, you're still inside the guard and the tackle. When you go to a 3-4, Hess, I never forget this. Kyle Williams would laugh at this one. When I went out to Buffalo, I got moved out to the end because they ran a 3-4 defense and coach wanted to see me at the end. I felt out of place. Right. I did, Hess, because it's a different responsibility. So to your point, when you're in a 4-3 defense and that's what it's a one-gap responsibility, Whereas in a 3-4 defense, depending on the call, you have a two-gap responsibility. So for me, as a nose guard in 3-4, it was comfortable, almost as comfortable as I was at the nose at LSU. So, I mean, I think that's the biggest differentiator. And even finding the right talent, because you'll take a guy, let's say like Cam Jordan for the Saints. Cam can play the 3 and the end. So, again, being able to have that versatility, a guy that we both know, Ricky Jean Francois, he was able to do that, really speaks volumes and really helps you in those different base defenses.
All right, real quick, Big Fave. We'll catch up with Marlon Fave right here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We've got a camp coming up that we're going to be a part of from the Elite Football Academy here in Baton Rouge. It is billed as the Champions Camp. It's going to be me, you, Matt Flynn, Richard Dickson, Craig Stales. We're going to have some of our national championship teammates. So kind of give our listeners an opportunity to know exactly what Big Fave is going to be teaching out there at the Champions Camp this Saturday at Dunham.
Well, y'all, 225, baby. I'm aware where the game is won and lost. That's inside the trenches. So I'll be working with the defensive line, a little bit of the offensive line as well. Excited to be working this camp with these guys. These are my brothers. We all won a lot of football together, so I'm excited about that. I'm letting y'all know right now, if y'all see that flyer, I didn't pick that picture. Hester did. He said, let me figure out how to mess over my friend Marlon, find the ugliest picture I can find.
Hey, it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard to find a bad one, Fave. I just closed my eyes and picked one.
Yeah, well, I'm excited, Hester. You know me with my company, Concourse Pros. We work with kids between the ages of 13 and 18, and even get some chance to get some young guys. So I'm excited to work with you guys, with the kids, and who all's coming out. Y'all gonna have some fun.
All right, there he is, Big Fave, Marlon Fave, right, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Big Fave, we appreciate the time, man. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
Same here, brother. Y'all take care.
All right, have a blessed day. There he is, Big Fave. All right, we will take a break. Give you some more information on that camp when we come back. Of course, we still have Ask Us still set to come in the show, presented by Coors Light here at the very end. We'll make Josh turn on their microphones and be a part, since we are Han Solo today with no Hanny. All that when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you by Richard Honda every single day, the title sponsor of our show here. RichardHonda.com has a new feature on the homepage. It tells you exactly how many vehicles they have in stock. And at the end of the year, you need to get over to I-12 and Millville because they are going fast. They have 439 new vehicles in stock over there at Richard Honda. So the homepage, you can pick exactly what you want, fill out all the information right there, and it's going to show you what they have available, even down to the exact number. You can have a chat with sales on the website. We tell you that all the time. Something else we tell you about is the buy from home option, a 7-step process to get your vehicle delivered straight to your doorstep. It's incredibly easy. You fill out just a little bit of information. You pick some of the pricing options. You pick the vehicle you want, the features you want. You compare it to a couple of vehicles that you have in mind. And at the end of this process, again, they deliver it straight to your doorstep. Go see them at 13413 Millville Greens Boulevard. As we said, they have something for everyone over there: car, truck, hybrid, midsize, full-size SUV, van, you name it, they have it. I can promise you, you'll drive away happy from Richard Honda. That's why it's home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st. 2021.
Tune into a Wednesday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from City Slice, Pints and Pizza near the campus of LSU. We're watching some SEC basketball as the Tigers take on Arkansas at 6 p.m. Come out and see us or tune into 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richards Honda here on a Wednesday afternoon. Got some information on the Champions Camp that Marlon Favorite and I will be a part of. It is this Saturday out at Dunham. You're going to teach some real fundamentals. We've got 2 different age groups going. You're going to have a young group, 8 and 12-year-olds, and we're going to have a high school age, 13 and 18. So we're going to split it up, make sure that they're getting exactly what they need. If you want to find out more information, you can visit social media pages of Elite Football Academy on Instagram, Elite FBLA. Same thing on Twitter, Elite FBLA on Twitter. All the information is there, and they have a special going on right now. You can use the promo code ELITE for 50% off your camp registration on Eventbrite. All you got to do is go to Eventbrite, the website. I think search the Champions Camp. It will pull up. You can hit that promo code, hit it up in there, and save on the registration. EliteFBLA@gmail.com. Also, if you have any questions, again, it'll be me, Flynn, Dixon, Marlon Favorite, Craig Stouts, and some high school coaches as well. Looking forward to that. My first ever camp to do in Baton Rouge. Done many of camps in Shreveport, but excited to bring my first camp down to Baton Rouge, and that will be this weekend again out at Dunham. All right, we got a couple things to catch up on here inside the Bayou 4 chat, and I'll ask Josh and Paul this question as well. When you see the number 7 LSU jersey, who's the first player that pops into your head? And obviously, the first number 18 ever transferred, Chris Curry, transferred to Utah. We told you all that earlier, so we're going to have some big decisions coming up on 7 and 18 this year, but first guy that pops into your head, Josh Ward.
It's Tyrann Mathieu for me. I'm not sure why. Like, you would think Patrick Peterson would be number 1, but for me, it's Tyrann Mathieu.
I think that's fair. All right, Paulie?
When I think 7, I think Patrick Peterson.
Ooh, okay.
Tyrann's probably a close second.
Okay. No Jonathan Giles?
No.
Okay. I think I'm the Honey Badger as well. And I will say this, though. I mean, what Tyrann did was unbelievable. I mean, the guy pretty much changed football as we know it. I mean, he created his own position. And Pat Pete is fantastic as well. Nothing to slander there. But Ollie Highsmith, in my opinion, doesn't get enough credit for being part of that 7 group. He was an All-American on a national championship team that made plays throughout the entire season, including the national championship game. So my only beef with number 7 is we need to put Ali Highsmith in the 7 talk because he absolutely deserves to be there.
So would he be like the OG, technically?
For me, he is. Now, I know some other guys like Burt Jones wore number 7, but it kind of became a thing. I think Ali Highsmith, I don't know this, but he's from Florida. Pat Pete from Florida. Maybe they had a conversation about it. I know for me, when I got number 18, you know, Matt Mock and Greg Stringfellow and Michael Bonnet and Jack Marucci, all these people had this conversation, you know, maybe to pick a freshman. And I don't know why in the world they chose to pick the lowest rated freshman in the class, but I was glad that they did. And it was just by chance that I got the opportunity to wear the jersey. But when we passed it down to Richard Dickson, I mean, it was a process. We talked about who would, you know, look good wearing 18, who would do this, who would do that. And I remember Les did not want to do it because Richard Dickson had 2 touchdowns in the national championship game wearing number 82, and he thought it would be bad juju to switch Richard to number 18. And, you know,
it's
Richard,
like the most Les Miles.
I know, it really is. And what's funny is, so I believe LSU football, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, went 8-5 with a bowl victory that next year. And I remember Les being like, almost like the jersey swap was the reason for. I'm like, I can give you a couple more reasons maybe why you're 8-5. I don't think it was because Richard switched numbers. So,
who was the original 7? Was it Peterson?
I guess.
So like everybody knows 18 was Mock.
Right. That's a great question that nobody's really ever asked because, like I said, Ali Highsmith wore it until he finished 07, and then if I'm not mistaken, Pat Pete was a freshman that next year.
That's right, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think Ali was the first one to start that trend. But I think you said Burt Jones was like back in the day, but 7 didn't become like a tradition at
Trev
that point.
Falk wore it in the early 2000s, but I think it became a tradition
from
that time. So now we need to really do some
Peterson
investigating.
technically pass it down to Tyron? Is that kind of how that went? Yeah. So
I guess we could say it started with Pat Pete. Although I'm going to throw Ali Highsmith in there, just because I want to.
I
thought he was
agree.
I thought he was a really good player.
Underrated.
I think so as well. Jacob, when is Flynn coming back on?
Never.
That's a great question. I guess it's something to do with Hanny because he doesn't come here when Hanny's here. So maybe they have an old beef. Maybe Hanny said he wasn't a good quarterback. I don't know that information. But last time I lured him here with Cold Coors Light. He had a couple of cold pops. So maybe we can have like a Friday show. See if we can get Dickson back. I feel bad. I happen to make my guy come back in. But Hunt will be here. Maybe we can get Flynn as well. Of course, on Fridays now, we get some picks from Playboy Marty. Even though Playboy Marty went 1-5 on the weekend and Dick Dickson went 5-1, we'll still call up to New York and get Playboy Marty to get involved in the show. But we'll see if we can get the whole band back together. At Jake, didn't Highsmith play half of the championship with an awful neck injury too? He did. He played most of that year with a bunch of different injuries. And obviously, when you start talking about Ali Highsmith, maybe a little undersized to be a professional football player, and the way he played, which is reckless, and I loved it. That's the only way you need to play football. The injuries caught up with him in the NFL as well. But, yeah, he played with a bunch of different injuries that year that really – you got to give him a lot of credit for fighting through. All right, we'll take a break because when we come back, obviously we're going to have a full Ask Us. We'll have Spin the Wheel. We're going to get Josh and Paul O'Neill both involved in the show. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, without the Hanny, presented by Richard's Honda.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you by Tiger Air every single day. Tell you about this room all the time. It's not regulated in here. All over the place. Well, when you get Tiger Air, they make sure that your equipment is working like it's supposed to be working, like your temperature is where it is supposed to be, like your equipment is working at its peak performance. So don't take this room, for example, take all the work that Tiger Air does. They're going to make sure that you're comfortable as possible, and they're going to save you money as well. If you're part of the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan that I tell you about every single day, you're going to save money on, of course, parts and labor for repairs if you need that. You're going to have lower utility bills every single month. You're going to save on emergency and priority service. We've all been there when things go wrong, and you want to make sure it gets fixed right then because, hey, we're in South Louisiana. We got to get those things fixed ASAP, and they'll do that over at Tiger Air. That seasonal maintenance we tell you about, don't shock the system. right? You got the heater on at one moment, you got the air conditioner on at the next. Make sure that your equipment is at its peak performance so it can handle that. All of that is part of the comfort assurance protection plan that you get from Tiger Air. And don't forget, quotes are always free. You can do it a number of different ways. You can go to tiger-air.com, top right corner of the homepage, fill it out right there. You can also pick up the phone and give them a call at 225-754-8687. So multiple ways to get that free quote for you. Remember, 24-hour emergency air conditioning and heating service available. Again, tiger-air.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject to credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.
Coming up on Thursdays Off the Bench. Recap the hardwood. How'd LSU fare against Arkansas? And did the Pels manage to stop their slide? Plus, break down the press conference of LSU's new offensive coaches, as well as the continued search for a DC. Off the Bench. 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard's Honda here on a Wednesday afternoon. It is that time in the show. Ask Us, of course, brought to you every single day by Coors Light. Don't forget about...
question about Coors Light, by the way.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Keystone Light, does that count in the same family as Coors Light?
There's Coors Light and there's Banquet Beer to me.
Okay.
It's Coors Original.
I had a lot of Keystones over the weekend. Just so
okay, well, I mean...
Just want to make sure I'm supporting the home team.
As well as go ahead and make the switch. I mean, there's Coors Light in the room for a reason because we're brought to you by Coors Light. So,
and the can says Coors Light on the side. So
okay, well that's fine. But go ahead and just why do the other? Just do the main one.
You know, I mean,
we got Blue Moon, Light Sky.
It was the cost thing at the time.
Yeah, Busy in there. I mean, you're welcome to. You're part of the show most days. It's okay. So whatever you're watching, whatever you got going on tonight, make it a better night with a cold Coors Light. All right, first one coming in here. Ask us your thoughts on thin crust pizza, pro or con. For me, I enjoy the crust of a pizza. To me, it's the best part of a pizza. Not to say I will not eat and enjoy a thin crust pizza, but I am a big, big fan of a deep dish pizza. That is my favorite. That is my go-to. I'm not going to turn most pizzas down, but if I have my choice, I'm going to put some crust on it.
Yep, Chicago.
Oh yeah, Chicago
deep style.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Number one, Domino's crust is pretty damn good. And but like you said, if pizza's in front of me, I'm not going to say no.
Wait, Domino's, okay.
I'm going to go opposite. I'm a big thin crust guy.
Of course he is.
I like my pizza crispy. But I do love regular pizza with
He likes
crust.
flatbread. That's what he likes.
I don't like deep dish.
You don't like deep dish?
I do like a regular pizza, and I eat the crust, or I go thin crust. But I'm not a big fan of deep dish.
A little disappointing. It's fine.
Just a little bit.
Hey, to each their own. To each their own. All right, next question. Ask us, National Rubber Ducky Day, in honor of Ernie. Who is your favorite Sesame Street character? I'm going to go to the count. 1. Yeah, the whole deal.
Oscar the Grouch for me.
Ooh,
Just
that's a
popping out
good
like,
one. Hey, he's just grouchy. You're kind of grouchy.
It's like,
if you don't have your coffee, you're grouchy.
You're right.
So I get that one.
I got to hear Polly. What's yours?
I was never a big Sesame
Oh
Street
my
guy.
gosh! Yes, everybody knows Sesame Street.
I mean, I know Sesame Street, but I didn't watch it growing up. But I'm gonna go Big Bird.
Could have guessed that.
Yeah, Big Bird. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Ask us, will midweek games matter this year? So I don't know where y'all fall on this. This is my opinion. I realize that midweek games, they have a purpose. You try to get things done. This is the football side of me coming out. If I'm playing a game and I'm putting on a uniform, I'll be damned if I'm not trying everything I can to win that game. That's just the football mentality, because in football, in college, you lose a game, you might be out of it. So and I understand it's more of a sprint than a marathon, where baseball is a marathon. I do think they matter. I think something can get done in that game that could benefit you in an SEC series or maybe a College World Series. So I do think midweek games matter. The age-old question here in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I think they do matter, and they matter because, as you said, as a competitor, you want to go out there and put out your best, and you want to win. And those midweek games are teams that, even with your not ace guy on the mound, that you should win because you are the flagship in Louisiana.
All right, Paulie?
All games matter. If it counts as a win or a loss, all games matter.
I like it.
Ask us, percent of Matt Flynn coming down with a fever and does not show Saturday. He's been known to come down with a fever and not show for things and then be seen doing other things when he had said fever. I don't want to put a percent on it. I hope he's there. We're going to have my high, the whole deal, but it's Flynn. So y'all know what that means. Y'all been here long enough to know what that means.
I think he has the built-in fever thing now that he can use as a precaution.
You're right.
And he can use that all the time. I mean, you can't question it because you're like, okay, well, you're being safe.
He used it right before COVID one time. Yeah, he missed with a fever. All right, ask us, if Brendan and Max Johnson beat out TJ as 1 and 2, does he stay or transfer? And same goes for Max. We've had this conversation many of times, and in today's college football, it's so difficult to keep 3 really good quarterbacks on your roster. LSU's going to have 4 next year. I'm not saying someone's going to transfer, but if it happens, don't be shocked, which I don't think any of you will be shocked, because as we know, you're going to have a starter, a guy that competed and the coaches feel really good about as the backup, and you're going to have a young guy. That's kind of what your quarterback room is going to look like. So do I expect all 4 to be there? Probably not. That's just the nature of college football.
You're definitely going to lose 1. You'll probably lose 2. What I found interesting today is how both new hires offensively for LSU, Mangus and Peetz, had so much to say about each quarterback individually of what they do specifically. So, but I think you'll definitely lose 1, probably 2.
All right, ask us, can LSU out-tailgate UCLA at its own campus? And it says, we all know the answer to that. So Dr. Etheredge and I were talking about that game during the break. That better not get messed up, man. I am looking forward to going out to Pasadena, going to the Rose Bowl. If you've never had the opportunity to go out there, it is something I think every sports fan needs to do. I've seen football, I've seen soccer in that stadium, and there's something about it. It's an incredible place. It's going to be an incredible trip. LSU fans are always going to outshine whoever they go against in tailgating. So let's make sure that happens, because I don't know if Gordy knows this yet, but I will not be at work whenever that takes place.
Yeah, I don't know. California's so messed up, man. And as far as the way September is, I still don't know what, I don't have a good feeling about that. But as you said, I hope so, because going to the West Coast is not something we get to do often. I went to the Seattle game in 2009, and that was such a great trip. So hopefully for all LSU fans' sake, that does happen.
Ask Jake, when will you, Flynn, and Dickson start a podcast? The flestering from December was really good. We've talked about starting a podcast, for a year and a half now. This is not going to surprise you again. Getting Flynn to sit down long enough to do said podcast is the issue. We have the equipment ready to go. We've got the name already in place. So, just waiting on Flynn, like we always are, waiting on the quarterback. Thinks he's way more important than he really is. You get it. He's a quarterback. Ask us. I like this one. If you were in a title fight of a UFC event, what's your entrance song? Mine's going to be the same as my baseball song, Dream On by Aerosmith. You're telling your opponent, dream on. And it's even got the low parts, it's got the high parts, it's got the good beat behind it. I'm always going to go Dream On by Aerosmith.
Return of the Mac.
Okay, I was not expecting Return of the Mac.
I love that song.
It's the same song I answered with yesterday. I don't remember what the question was, but mine is Chitty Bang, opposite of Adults.
Okay,
every time I listen to that
song.
I get hyped. It just gets me in the mood.
Okay. Today is National Blame Matt Moscona Day. What are you blaming Moscona for?
Everything.
Obviously, killing the huddle is mine. Paul?
Yeah, anything and everything.
Let's see.
COVID's as
well. Ooh, ask us. Best football cleats, Nike, Adidas, or Under Armour? I'm a Nike athlete, so I'm going Nike.
That's a you question for sure.
I'm a Nike athlete. Paul?
I always had Nike cleats. Obviously, you played a lot longer than I did, but yeah, I always went with Nike.
I just want a pair of Alan Kamara's Christmas Day cleats, just for fun.
Yeah, those are going to the Hall of Fame, by the way. I don't know if you saw
Along
that.
with
The
the
jersey,
fine as well.
The fine letter, the cleats, everything is all going to the Hall of Fame. All right, ask us. If animals could talk, which animal would be the most annoying? Cats. Cats would be the most annoying.
Yeah.
I feel like. I'm just not a cat person. Kind of creepy.
Oh, they're very creepy.
Ask us, what company or franchise do you wish would go out of business? Ooh, that's kind of a hard one.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're kind of in an ad-driven space here. Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to lose their job or like.
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah,
so many have already done that it's.
That's
you
really
need them
tough.
to come back.
I mean, technically, a franchise would be like a sports franchise. So, can the Phillies go away? I hate the Philadelphia Phillies.
The Yankees.
Can they go away? I'll take that. This is more of a statement from Bayou. Hester is dressed like an OSU fan. I am not. This is a Pelican shirt. This is a D1 sports training hat, which I own up in the Port City. So if you're there, stop by and get a workout in. That's what that is. It is not an Ohio State, although may or may not have been rooting for them. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Terrio with Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you've got to come see us for the New Year's Certified Pre-Owned event. CPO vehicles come with an unlimited mileage warranty, and right now we're offering a 2-month payment credit up to $1,500, as well as 1.99% for 36 months on all eligible models. Check them out at mbobr.com or go see my guys Nick and Hess to take your new year up a gear. See dealer for complete details and exclusions. Qualified customers only. Subject to credit approval by NBFS. Must take delivery by March 1st, 2021.